Capture. Hey, we're back for another amazing session of Gears of Vengeance, where a bunch of crazy adventurers, try to find a mega dungeon so they can die there, or something like that. Um, so last time, you guys finished up with Arkenfall. So you came back from helping these. I should be more specific because last time was actually a double session where we did one and then we finished up with a couple hours more. So in the first part of that, you guys actually finished fighting some pixies, found out they were a little bit corrupted, kind of went further into the forest by following Rasputin, eventually making your way to a really massive tree after being confused a bit as to exactly where you were supposed to go. And there you found a dryad, and she also looked corrupted. Speaking with her, you found out that some woodsman had come and had basically tried to chop down her tree. But ever since then, she had been feeling ill, and it had been steadily getting worse. At a certain point there, you guys started looking around and found or had spoken with her more and found out that she had killed a couple of the woodsmen and one had run away. That led to you looking at the woodsmen and finding out that their axe handles were there, but not the actual axe heads. You searched around the tree, found the two axe heads, and realized that it was cold iron, and that was what was poisoning her. Removing the axe heads at least starts the process. At that point, I don't remember what you did with the axe heads that you found there, so that's a good question. At that point, you confronted Rasputin, and he broke down and basically said yes, he came with his friends, and that they had been given these axes by a person who he described, which caused Sealgair to become a little bit disturbed because it sounded like someone she knew as the boogeyman named Grim. At that point, you guys were helped by the Dryad to find a bunch of the herbs you were looking for, and then you headed back to Arkenfalls, where you got Rasputin's axe head. So technically right now you have 3 of these axe heads, if I'm not mistaken. At that point...
Did we get the one? We had them move one of them. The pixies moved away. I don't remember if we went back and got one of them.
No. The pixies didn't move anything away. They can't touch that stuff. It would kill them.
Okay.
So you have 3 axe heads. I don't know what you did with the first 2. That I would have to go back into the video and figure out.
I'm not sure.
Remember. But the third one you definitely have because I know Silva has at least one of them.
I knew we had one. I didn't know we had one. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what you would have done with the other 2.
I have a question about those axe heads. Is it possible to put them in some sort of special container and then bury the container in the roots of the tree so that nobody can get at those axe ever again? And the box would contain the axe so it doesn't harm the tree?
You're not sure, but
okay.
We'll roll past that anyway, because as I'm continuing on with the summary, you guys got back to Arkenfalls, booked passage again with the Snapper, and we're able to talk with the what's the name? The herbalist at Arkenfalls. Got rid of sold a few of the things to her for some items, and then took the Snapper back to Tanelvar, where again you kind of took the pieces that you needed to kill Rani, sold some to the herbalist there, kept some for yourselves. At that point, you started discussing exactly what you were going to do next. And I believe the consensus was it was time to actually get prepared and start going and finding Deltarune, because you only had a few months before the snows, or you only had probably this month, a few weeks maybe, before the snows started coming as winter was approaching. So that's kind of where we pick up. It is the morning of Falltide the 7th. You guys have recollected or reconvened, met up back at Morgoth's house. And what do you guys want to do? And to kind of answer your question, Kat, you would kind of really need to have somebody research that. Somebody is currently researching the axe heads by the name of Silva, but she's researching them for a different reason.
Okay. It was a question I thought of after the session.
Yeah, that's all right. It's all good. It's a good thought. And as we said, we don't know exactly what you guys did with the other 2 axe heads. So,
Oops.
Who said we did anything?
well,
Huh?
my assumption is you have all 3. Since you
Yeah.
haven't
Yeah,
said
we
you
did-
did anything specific with them, my assumption is you still have them.
Yeah, I think we were trying to figure out what to do with them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
we definitely wanted research on one of them, but
Yeah. No, because you wanted to research it because it was somehow getting around the confusion spell.
exactly.
And so, there's a reason for looking into it. And I totally understood that, but I totally forgot the other 2 as you guys were doing stuff. So yes, it's the beginning, it's the morning. What do you guys want to do? You've met up at Morgoth's house. In fact, technically Artemis has been staying at Morgoth's house. Probably Sealgair too, actually, since she didn't go back to the church that night.
Yeah, we're absolutely bumming at his house.
Andal does eventually show up. He's a little bit quiet today.
Wow. Go Andal.
He's kind of quiet most days. He does eventually talk, but he's like, all right, are we going to go to the are we going to get some equipment so we can start looking in Delta for the Dwarven ruins? What are we doing?
I definitely believe that was the plan. We were talking about getting a guide also, whether it was the racist Nazi guy or his friend.
Oh, you mean the goblin hater?
Yes.
That was
Yes.
Jan. Yes, Jan the
Jan.
Trapper or his friend, Halton.
Yes, because we weren't going to go as far out.
Now remember,
and-
Jan the Trapper knows, and Andal, Morgoth, and Silva would know this. Knows basically has a track that he does that takes about 2 days around Raventhorpe for various traps and things, but he's never really gone beyond further than that. Halton, at this point, is for the 3 of them know for sure that he is a druid of some sort and has some trepidation about them finding the items. So those are kind of the caveats that you had mentioned last time as well.
Yeah, my experience with them was the one guy was kind of racist, and we rescued. So we just need a ranger type, whether it's a guide we found in the other town. We just need someone who.
Well, I mean, remember you have the 3 sort of landmarks based off of the frescoes. I mean, you may not need a guide if you can at least talk to somebody who can kind of tell you approximately where that would be.
That's true. I was just worried about surviving in case.
Oh yeah, no,
bad.
that doesn't mean you can't get a guide. I'm just saying you may not need one. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
One thing I forgot to talk about when we first started. We have the maps up here. If you ever want to look at them, there are all the 3 of them. So here is the main map for the whole world. For whatever reason you want to kind of look at it, it's here.
Cool cover.
The blue square is the Nairo Marches, as we put on there before. At this point in time, that now becomes this map. So here is the map of the Nairo Marches. This is the main place you guys are in. As you can see by the map, Tanelvar is right here. This is the lake you guys just crossed over to Arkenfalls here. The Tanel River then continues on where it joins up with two other rivers, the Frost Stream. Well, they're not really rivers, but the Frost Stream and the Misty River, in where they kind of go into the Tanel Slough, or oops, I spelled that wrong. It is supposed to be Tanel Slough, which is basically a swamp of sorts. Right on the outside of the swamp on the Tanel River is Kilthair, which is sort of another larger town. It's actually a town that's actually similar in size to Tanelvar. And the river is navigable all the way from Arkenfalls, all the way through the swamp, all the way to Eiley. Eiley is the capital of the Nairo Marches. It's where the Countess holds sway or runs the marches from. The marches themselves come from the Eastvar peaks all the way down here to the bottom of the map here, which I never named these because they're part of the Lyrvars. Other than that, the brown lines here are actual roads. The dashed ones are more tracks than roads. And you can see why they try to do this sort of, try to do the barge traffic here, because it's actually faster to do the barge this way than it is to do the road to Aerith, to Kilthair, to Arkenfalls, to Tanelvar. So Hence the reason for the barge traffic. Where you guys have, so when you talk to Manson, the cartographer, and this is, think of this as the map he gave you, which is the reason why I have this map here. He had mentioned that the Dragon Claw Peaks, or the Dragon Claw Peak that he remembered, was somewhere over in here. And so you expect that you're going to be going this direction in some fashion to get to where you want to go. Also, it's not on this map because this map is a little too big, but Raventhorpe is basically right here near these trees. So if you're ever curious about that. And it does take about 6.5 hours to go from Tanovar to Raventhorpe. So that should also give you an idea of, the size of this thing. But to give you even more specific, this map is 200 miles west to east, 125 miles north-south.
Wow. Very cool map. So,
and then you always have the Tanovar city map here, which is still the old Dyson logo one that I have yet to swap out, but I'm getting closer to swapping it out. All right, so that kind of puts us back to beginning of the game. I will bring you back to the narrow marches because that's probably the more salient one for now. Andal says, well, we probably need some mountaineering equipment at the very minimum, so we should probably go look for that.
Yes, definitely. Mountaineer, rations.
Yeah. Morgoth, Silva, you guys know that there is 3 different places you could get food and 2 different places you could get specific supplies like mountaineering equipment and stuff like that. The places you can get food, 2 of those places can do the same thing. So there's Dartok's Goods, which is across the river in Tanovar, in the spot where the herbalist and stuff was at, as well as Felian's Supplies, that's sort of in the main central district of the town. Dartok is a little bit cheaper than Felian's, but Felian's equipment is a little bit more slightly better quality. You can also get food in both those places, or you can go to the fish market, the meat market along the docks, and try to get dried fish there. More than likely, the dried fish and things like that, which will be sort of the equivalent of dry rations or of rations, will be a slightly cheaper at the meat markets because it's coming directly from the fishermen and that sort of stuff, and the butchers. So what do you guys want to do?
So how much are we looking to spend? Do we have a budget here? Did he give us any expenses, or are we just taking it out of our money?
Well, he's just paying you. He's paying you a weekly stipend. You have to basically pay for anything you need out of that.
All right. Well, money's not really too big a worry right now.
We should probably go
I'm
with a better
loaded.
quality one.
So let's go get the nice stuff.
All right. So you guys head to Filian's, which is not actually that far away from where Morgoth lives.
And I did make my so I got the little like clockwork sparrow on my shoulder now again. I don't think I don't have the actual invocation, so I can't put it in the
Yeah, that's fine. All right, so heading to Filian's, he has rations if you want to buy rations. He has things like grappling hooks and ropes and sort of mountaineering harnesses, I would call it. So I would call it sort of a you could get a mountaineer's pack, which is basically 50 foot of rope, 3 or 4 pitons, and a grappling hook, and sort of a harness, for doing mountain climbing. So that would probably be gold plus. Need to find.
I think a couple of those would be a good idea. I mean, we don't need one for everybody, but maybe an Aerra and the spare type.
So pitons would be 2 silver plus 2 gold plus what did I say? I did rope, plus rope. Hampton rope is so 3 gold. So I mean, you can get that basically for 4 gold. Is basically what it would be.
That 4 gold apiece, 4 gold for the whole mess.
4 gold for each set of that stuff that you get. So it'd be a 50 foot of rope. It would be a grappling hook. It would be 4 pitons. And it would be like this harness thing. If you just want to buy the harness, that's like 3 silver pieces.
Honestly, we can get one for each of us.
Yeah, I don't think that's bad.
That's not too expensive.
Well, I mean, there's weight involved there too, though. So keep that in mind. I mean, yes, if each one of you got it, it would be 20 gold, basically. And in fact, you'd probably knock off 2 gold because you're buying so many of them. So it'd be 18 gold.
So, but how much weight does it add?
Well, some of you may already have 50 feet of rope, so just keep that in mind. But
yeah, let me see.
I'm pretty sure I do.
I've got rope. Do I have a grappling hook?
The whole thing weighs approximately 15 pounds. Yeah, about 15 pounds. If you get the whole thing. And that doesn't include like rations. We haven't talked about rations yet.
So I'm going to go ahead and get the whole thing, and that'll give me 100 feet of rope, and then I can sell something somewhere else or figure out something.
All right, so you guys...
That's 4 gold. Well, 18 gold.
Well, if you buy 5 of them, it's 18 gold, but you don't necessarily need to buy 5 of them. That's all I'm saying. Okay. It's 4 for just one individual, and if you buy 5, it'll knock off to 10% in essence.
Well, I already have rope.
Same.
All right, so if you already have rope, then just to get pitons, the harness, and a grappling hook would be like 2.5 gold. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like the rope is the
expensive thing.
Is not necessarily. It's the expensive thing is the grappling hook. It's 2 gold. So if you don't need a grappling hook, which you may not need a grappling hook for this, like this is mountaineering stuff. Like you may only need 1 of those to get started, and then like somebody's probably gonna have to free climb. To be quite honest, with a rope attached to them, they're free climbing up, putting in the pitons every so often, and tying off the rope, and then going up higher.
Like I said, I'll go ahead and get the full package.
All right, so you're gonna get a grappling hook, another set of rope. So you're gonna spend 4 gold. For everybody else, if you don't want the grappling hook, then pitons are 6 copper a piece. The harness, like I said, is like is 2 silver pieces.
But why don't we just get one full kit and then a bunch of extra pitons?
I am totally mistaken. There's a thing here called a Clamors Kit.
I was going to ask Clamors Kit. I just don't have it.
Okay, so Clamors Kit includes special pitons, boot tips, gloves, and a harness.
Not cheap. Well,
it's 25 gold to do it. It's 25. So, and he's marked up, so it's going to be 27 gold to get the Clamors Kit.
Oh, you can do that.
Each one, like per.
Yeah, that's going to be kind of brutal.
Yeah, I know. I sold a bunch of those crystals. We got money.
Yeah, you have like 500-600 gold. So.
Okay.
Silva does anyway.
Yeah,
that's 125. So
I have money, so I'm not opposed to just buying us all nice climbing equipment so we
so it'll be
outfitted properly.
It'll be 130 gold to get 5 climber kits.
Okay.
So
you don't mind
you can use the Clamors Kit as an action to anchor yourself. When you do, you can't fall more than 25 feet from the point where you currently are anchored. But you also can't climb more than 25 feet away from that point without undoing the anchor as well. But that means you guys could each sort of leapfrog each other and do what you need
safer,
to do.
Which is probably good.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you limit the amount that you can fall. All right.
Yeah, I think.
All right, so 130 gold for that.
All right.
Mark that off. Make sure.
I will.
So we have.
You got that?
5 Clamors kits for 130 gold.
Why are you 20? How much do I owe you, Brian? Do you know?
I have no idea.
Okay. I'll go ahead and give you 20 that way. I'm pretty sure it was less than that.
Okay, rations are, if you want a week's worth of rations, it'll be 3.5 gold. They're 5 silver pieces apiece.
I kind of want to go to the fish market to get the rations.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the fish market's fine for
It's
the
perfectly
rations.
fine, you can. So Filian is pretty happy to have sold you the Clamors Kit. He's like, yeah, thank you very much. Don't worry, ever come back. I give you a guarantee of 5 days. If something breaks within the next 5 days, bring it back and I will replace it for free.
Assuming we make it back, but yeah.
He doesn't know where you're going. I mean, but it's, yeah, he's giving you a 5-day
It's a nice, yeah.
Yes. And so you guys head to the docks, where you find the fish market. And you can find several places that are doing dried fish, or even some dried meat. The butchers actually come down here sometimes during the day as well to provide some of their like jerky and stuff like that. Like I said, normally rations once per day would be 1 day would be 5 silver pieces. But given that we're this particular thing, you can actually get a full week for like 2 gold.
So how heavy are these climbing kits?
They are 12 pounds.
And then like if we get how much?
So
we get a
the
bunch
nice
of
part
rations.
about this rations is that for that thing, for what I just talked about, it's about 2 pounds for a full week. Normally the rations that you get from like Filian or Dartok are a bunch of dried goods and things like that, and they're bulky. That's where the poundage comes. This is just a bunch of, you know, dried meat and a set of like leaves and stuff like that you just put in your pack. It's pretty light.
But that's for that. It's
Each
2
of us can
pounds
get
for
that.
each of us, or 2 pounds per
2 pounds per each person. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Again, I'm
And
not
that's
too
2
worried
gold?
about encumbrance unless you went like 2 gold for a whole week. Unless you look on your sheet after you're putting the stuff down and suddenly your bar on your inventory page is completely full. That would be the
Well,
only time.
mine's
I'd be worried
getting
about it.
close.
So.
That's why I'm a little, because mine's getting a little close.
All right,
I
so
don't think mine is. Let me see where it is. Where is that on the
so if you go
It's
to the
on the
inventory, the very
inventory.
bottom of the page is a bar.
Oh, I'm good. Yeah, I'm like
Yeah.
half.
Well, because I want to stock up on a bunch of rations so we're not kind of stuck in the mountains.
Well, so as of right
but-
now, Andal still has 9 rations left. You guys, I don't know if he really has that, so I would probably swap him out to be saying he has just 7 again, a full week's worth. So a full week's worth will be 2 pounds.
And we
Because
can hunt,
how long are we
too, in
planning on
theory.
staying up there?
It's up to you guys.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna stay.
Because I thought we were kind of going in and going to be there for a minute.
Yeah, I mean, based on what you guys talked about last time, it sounded to me like you wanted to find the place, kind of make sure it was the right place, and then get out, and then let the snow come, and then do some searching around. Do some searching around, because there's still a place or two on the original map you found that you haven't been to.
Right.
And those were closer in, so you'd have a little more time to go explore them if you wanted to.
Okay. I forgot that we were going to pull out. Okay, then yeah, maybe.
Yeah, you
just
weren't
like
going to
a week
stay
or
there.
two.
You were basically going to go there and make sure it was the right spot, and then come back out. Was the plan that you guys talked about last week.
So maybe
I
just
think
buying
that's
a week
valid.
on top of.
Yeah, but you figure it's probably going to be at least 2 or 3 days to get there is your guess. I mean, you're going through mountains, you're going to be climbing and all that sort of stuff. And then figure about the same amount of time to get back. So, you know, if you figure a week or 2 of rations, you'll be fine.
So yeah, let's just do 2 weeks each
Yeah, let's
to
do
be
2
safe.
weeks.
Okay.
So that's 4 gold.
That's 4 gold. All right.
Okay, Brian, I'm going to give you 10 gold. Give you some gold back.
All right. And so I'll add that to Andal as well.
So cold
He has
weather
2 weeks
clothing.
worth of it. So, say again?
Cold weather clothes. Is it? I'm assuming we're getting cold. Where actually we'll have some cold nights, perhaps, or some. It could snap into the cold, or are we still warm enough that we don't need to worry about that type of protective gear?
I'm not gonna. It depends. If you get caught up in there, yes, it'll be colder than you want it to be. But I'm assuming most of the stuff you have right now, like fall tide, is basically the equivalent of September or October. And you guys are sort of, think of it September in, Denver, Colorado, or slightly higher elevation than that. Not much higher, but so it gets cold at night, but it's not super cold. Like it's like freezing yet. As you get later in this month, so yeah, think of fall tide as the beginning of October, actually. As you get later into this month, then indeed it will start to become colder. Just trying to make sure this is the right thing.
Common clues. Let's see.
All right, so
Okay with walking. We don't need horses or any type of gear like that. Correct.
yeah. I mean, unless you want to get horses, but you don't.
Yeah, I don't
necessarily need
really
them.
don't
mountains.
need
It's probably going to be a problem
Mountains,
as
I
you
would
get into the mountains
Yeah.
anyway. Yeah, so think of fall tide as the beginning of October.
Is there some place that I could buy smith's tools?
For taking into the mountains?
Well, no, it's just because I'm now I was rereading my gunsmith stuff, and I'm proficient in smith's tools. So,
you
Might
could
as well have
probably
them.
find a smithy and see if you could buy some from the guy.
yeah,
Um,
because for working with my guns and stuff.
How much would he sell them for? That's the question. Of course, tools. Sure. It's 20 gold, and it'll cost you about 8. It'll be about 8 pounds. So you're really getting close to the edge there.
Well, you
Yeah,
probably leave those in somebody's house, right? And you don't have to bring them.
Well,
because I'll be working on the gun.
Oh, okay.
That's all.
Okay, that's cool. I didn't realize. I see what you mean now. I thought it was more.
Yeah,
I mean, you have room for 8 pounds, so it's not
You
like
want me to
but
carry
after
some
that,
stuff, I can
can't really
carry it.
anything. Well, it's just after this stuff that I've got, I can't really carry anything else. So whatever we get, kind of going to be on you guys.
yeah.
I mean, I'm not really carrying much.
I don't
So it was
think
20
I'm-
gold.
Yeah, it's 20 gold. Okay. So you guys have that takes you, a couple hours, so it's now midday. What are you guys up to next?
Who has a bow? I've got a hand crossbow.
I have a bow.
Do we have something to hunt with? You've got guns, so we're
I have a
hunting.
gun.
I have a bow.
Which reminds me, I should check on my ammunition. How much of that's right?
You had 57 because I just looked at it.
Yes.
You didn't? I thought you had repeating.
I
Okay.
do, right. So I don't even need to buy
Yeah.
ammunition anymore,
You
right?
have the repeating invocation, so you're fine.
Right.
Or not invocation, but
The
formula. Whatever it's
the
called.
inscription or something.
They're called
It's
Infusion.
what's it called? Yes. Which reminds me, because I also couldn't find the fighting style that I have. I have the martial training I have as part of my
yeah.
gunsmith.
Right. So just send me text.
Yeah,
or something and
I'll
get all this stuff.
I'll text it after.
Yep.
But it's just rapid fire, so I just get to attack with a bonus action.
Yeah. No, I understand. Okay. Continue your discussion. Sorry.
I mean, honestly, if we want horses, we can get them. I'm not.
No. I mean,
I don't
I
think we need
that- especially
I
not in
don't
the
think we
mountains.
need it either.
You just got Clamors Kits because you're probably gonna have to climb up some
Yeah,
mountains.
I mean,
you gonna
just to
hoist
get
the
there, we
horses after you? What the hell are you talking about?
yeah, bro. Silva's posh now. He's got to hoist the.
So I would like to make some fire potions somewhere on the way, or I could do it the night before.
So
I've got the Alchemist kit. Yeah.
No, I understand. But I got a new book that is all about crafting
Actually,
and enchanting and
Oh my gosh! Thank you.
So
That's one of the worst things. Kit use is awful in the rules.
well, it's not necessarily just about kit use, but this this adds a system so that you could make any of the magical items and potions and stuff and that sort of stuff in the DMSG and all that sort of stuff. So, but in that sense, what do you want to make? Do you want to make some Alchemist fire? Is that what you wish to make?
Well, what can I make? I know Alchemist fire and.
So you're 4th level. So at 4th level, I consider you sort of an apprentice for these alchemy recipes.
Right.
They have it sort of set up as novice, apprentice, expert, and artisan and master. So that's you're at the level where you're considered apprentice, even though in game terms you're not an apprentice anymore. But which means that this book has it set up as specializations. I kind of probably have an idea of what your specialization would be. So Alchemist Fire would require 17 hours to make.
Okay.
And it'll be sort of like an oil, and that you need something. According to this, you need an elemental source fire that is either unique, and volatile. So, let me see ingredients. Elemental essence. So you have those mushrooms, or I think they were mushrooms. I would consider those as possible. Oh, hold on. All right, you just need an elemental source fire is what it's talking about. I understand now how this works. So yeah, that is sort of those tiers are sort of an elemental source. So I would consider that worth it. So yeah, it would take you 17 hours to make one, and you just have to make an intelligence check with alchemist supplies.
And you guys think I should? Let's just back a day. Can I do it on the road? I probably need.
You'll need 17 hours of uninterrupted time.
Okay, let's do it in the future then. I won't necessarily because we're leaving today.
You could do something else, which is like alchemist flame. You could do flame, which is slightly, or alchemist flame, which is slightly less. That's interesting. Oh, right. It's a higher intelligence roll. That's why. That's why it takes less time. So you could do it in 10 hours, but it would be a more difficult roll. Like you can try to squash the time in, but it becomes a higher DC.
Difficult. I'll just wait till we get back. I will think about it. And
all right. No, that's fine. Just letting you know that.
Yeah, no, it's good because that way. Is there
like
anything
you
else
have access to. At this point in time, you have access to creating acid, which we've already talked about. Right. Alchemist Fire, Alchemist Frost, Bottled Lightning, a Flesh Eater, some basic poisons, and a tincture, a Tongati tincture. I'd have to look at what that actually is, according to this book. Now we can come up with more recipes and things like that. Basically, these are so basically a form of potion where if somebody drinks it, they can't speak for an hour. So technically you don't have access to that one, but you normally wouldn't, but knowing who you are and how you had to get to where you are, you do have access to it.
Okay.
And normally it's a restricted kind of recipe according to this stuff. So,
can I make any hallucinogenic poison, or is that I know I have one bottle of that.
Basic poison right now, but I mean I would say based off of what you used as your base, in theory, yes.
Okay. Like I said, I'll do that in the future, I guess. So that stuff could
all
be
these
useful.
things are about 10 to 15 hours for the most part.
Okay.
Basic poison actually takes even more time than that.
Wow.
Based on this thing, you also need a poisoner's kit, which I don't know if you have.
Don't know. I don't think so.
But we'll talk about more.
I got herbalist.
I literally just got this book yesterday, so.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So I'm kind of looking through it.
You let me use my Alchemist kit to create basic poison for my arrows. Is that still okay?
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Okay, all right.
I mean, technically you're not an alchemist, but that doesn't matter.
Yeah,
it's okay for now. I think and actually I don't. Yeah, it was because I saw the alchemist supplies roll. Yeah, I'm okay with that. I mean, it doesn't. You don't necessarily have to use a poisoner kit. Although in your case, I would probably say if you prefer to have a poisoner kit, it makes sense for your character. So,
I think I probably would. I don't think that I'm going to be doing too much alchemy.
yeah.
I think it would be more like
Like I said,
poisoning
for
my
your character, it
weapon.
makes far more
Yeah.
sense that you have a poisoner kit than so
Yeah.
we can swap that out. That's fine.
All right.
So I'm going to go ahead and get clothing cold weather just because it's 10 gold.
Okay.
It's adventure gear.
All right. No,
So,
that's fine. You never know. It might snow while you're up there.
yeah.
That would suck.
Yes, it would. I went to school in the mountains. I know how mountain weather is.
You guys doing anything else? Morgoth, you buying anything specific? Or,
No.
Sealgair? All right.
And let
Then.
me see how much a normal crossbow is. I don't think I can use. Actually, I've got barbarian, so I can use a short bow. What's the cheapest bow?
Yeah, you don't know if you really want to be hunting in the mountains with a pistol.
Yeah, exactly. Hand crossbow.
You're just not sure. Or a hand crossbow. I mean, like an actual pistol. The
Oh yeah,
the
that
noise of that thing.
that's what I was thinking. You'll never be able to bring anybody down, type thing. Or you can bring one down and the rest of them run. Why does it?
Brian, also this crafting and enchanting book will come into play for you as well because it does do things for enchanting and crafting items as well. So I'm still just trying to figure out how to insert it into the game yet.
All right, cool.
So like when you say, hey, I want to go make some particular item, well, I'll be able to say, okay, well, here's the items you potentially already know and that are above and beyond the things you get as you slowly get higher. Like remember, artificers at certain levels start to be able to create temporary versions of objects. This would be more permanent versions.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get a light crossbow. That's 25 gold.
Okay.
Then I am tapped. Again.
But you got everything you need for at least a couple weeks, so you know.
Yeah.
You'll get paid at least twice by then. You'll have money again.
Let's see how many bolts I've got left.
Actually, do we have any health potions?
You do have one or two because last time I believe that that was part of what they sold off.
I have
crossbow bolts.
I think I have 2.
Okay.
Let's see. Yeah, I've got 2.
And the research stuff that you've been doing, Artemis and Silva, I will turn into actual things based off of this crafting stuff. So like as soon as you reach a certain point, you'll have figured out how to make an aerosolized version of a healing potion, Artemis, and then I'll give you sort of a recipe or of what you need to do to make it to do it in game.
Excellent.
Terms. Same thing with your that ward there, Silva. So those will be new things.
Okay, since I can't afford anything else, I'm done.
Right. You didn't want this to be a full shopping episode?
No.
We could totally do it.
Oh, I know.
All right.
We're known for
him. Andal doesn't really want to get anything else. I mean, he's just, he's got what he needs. So like I said, it's about midday. What do you guys want to do next? Are you guys going to start heading towards the mountains, or is there anything else you need to do before you leave town?
For me,
I think that's it, right? We don't need to. We're good.
Right. So, you know that if you leave now, you'll make it to Raventhorpe right about dusk. So you still have plenty of time to make it there. It's about 6-7 hours. It'll be a little after dusk, maybe, but not too late. So you start heading out west on the road that leads west, or the track, really more than road. It's not a solid road, but the track that leads west along the river, heading towards Raventhorpe. As you're heading along the way, you see the typical mining travel that you've always seen. It's a little lighter than it has been in the past, but not unusual in the sense that it's starting to get closer and closer towards winter. And the mines don't necessarily shut down, but they do slow down during the winter. I mean, it's cold and things like that, so it's a little bit harder extract things out, and it's hard to get the workers to get up there to do this stuff anyway. Travel is still somewhat towards Tenelvar is still somewhat elevated because we're still kind of in the harvesting. We're at the end of the harvesting time, so people are still taking their tax base into the Baron and or taking some of their stuff to Tenelvar to sell the excess that they have. But for the most part, pretty easy going. You make it to Ravensthorpe by a little past dusk. Reaching the small little village, you come upon the Wagon Inn again, as near the center of town of the Thorpe. Heading inside, Brunner sees you, and he's like, he kind of does a double take for a second, as if like he should remember you, but maybe not. And then he's like, "Oh yes, you guys. It's been a long time. I see you're back. Same rooms as before."
Yes, please.
Yep.
All right. He's like, "Just lucky for you, no one is here today, other than the people here." And a bunch of people look at it like, "What? Who are we? We're nothing." Other than people here for the tavern. So he provides you with the couple of keys. Andal, remember, has been taking the common room, so he just does the common room. And what do Sealgair and Artemis want?
I'll take the common room.
Okay. So, Sealgair, what about you?
I think I'd rather sleep with people around me. I'm feeling antsy since I've heard about Grim.
Okay. All right. So a common room as well. So the common room is just a couple copper pieces. Having an actual room like Morgoth and Silva are doing is like 5 silver pieces. So that's a bit more, but you do the couple of copper pieces. Same with Artemis, same with Andal. You guys take the common room, go up into you set your stuff up in the common room. It's basically just you guys. There's literally nobody in the inn except for you guys this evening, for in places for the rooms and things like that. So putting your stuff in the rooms, you come back down and have a little bit to eat. The tavern room, common room, is a bit full of. It's full in the sense that there are 5 people in here other than yourselves. So with yourselves, it becomes kind of full inside the tavern room, the main common room here, tavern room. Most of them look like farmers. In fact, they all look like farmers. There's nobody unusual that you would expect from here. You guys start eating a bit. And as you're kind of having some of your evening repast, the door kind of comes open, and in walks your friend and mine, Jan the Trapper. Noticing you guys, he kind of nods in your direction, barks out to Brunner an ale, and then comes over and sits down next to you guys. "Oh, it's good to see you guys here again. What brings you to Ravensthorpe?"
We're headed to the name escapes me.
Are you heading into the mountains?
Yes.
We're heading into the mountains.
Any particular reason? Oh, right. You guys were looking for ruins. You found
Yes.
You found a new thing of ruins, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the special ones that we wanted that the name escapes me. That's where we're going.
Okay, so the name is Delta Rock. I don't know if you
Yes.
really want to mention that to people because it is
Oh.
It's legendary in the sense that people know that at the height of the Dwarven Empire is not the right word, but at the height of the Dwarven power, Delta Rock was the most powerful, the epitome of Dwarven technology and things like that. Like many people would love to find Delta Rock. So, the fact that you might know where it is, and the fact that you've already had somebody kind of bribe you with Martech, just for the fact that you've been looking for it, should already tell you a little bit about how important or how rich it could be if you find it. Like the fact that Casters put you on freaking retainer
Yeah.
should be already telling enough. So I don't know if
Yeah,
you
I
want to
just
use the
forgot
name
what it's
Delta
called.
Rock, but you can.
But the ruins.
But Dwarven
yeah.
Ruins is perfectly fine to say because clearly you've been working with Jan.
Rumors of Dwarven Ruins.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Do you need any help or anything?
Well, we're not doing anything crazy this time around. We're just kind of scouting it out, taking a look before winter sets in, and we're gonna truly head into these ruins
Oh, that
after the fact.
Artemis
Sure, that kinda
raises
makes
an
sense.
eyebrow at that.
kind of makes a little bit of sense.
Like, so we're not taking him? I missed that part. I thought we were, but
To Jan the Trapper?
yeah.
Oh,
I don't think we were.
Okay, that's
I
fine.
thought you were not really wanting to be associated with the racist guy. This is
Okay, that's
Yeah.
yeah. Okay,
That's the races.
This
Jan
racist guy.
Jan is the guy who wanted to just keep killing the goblins.
Okay, yeah, let's not do the racist guy.
Yeah, well, if you need any help, I mean, I can sort of tell you, here in the valley and the Vale beyond, but beyond that, I don't really know a lot about. But I do know a few people who do a bit more. Maybe they can help you if you need it. But otherwise, good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And
Has hunting been good around?
we're getting, I've gotten a few things. I just got back from a couple days ago from my circuit. Mostly a few foxes, not a lot of anything else though. Not sure why. It seems I should have at least gotten a bear or maybe a wolf this time around, but nope, just some foxes. And one trap, I think that was set up for rabbits and stuff. I think something got into it because clearly it had been tripped, but there was nothing in there. So, not sure what's up with that yet. But
Are there any rumors or anything of things, the type of monster or any type of
not that I
larger
know
beast
of.
that's
I
moved
mean,
into the area?
probably the normal stuff. Like occasionally we'll see some hulking brutes and things like that around, but most of the time they stay away from coming this close to civilization. They know that usually when that happens, muster a bunch of people together and kill it.
Well, that's what we should do. So that's good.
But if you want to know more about what's further out, you should probably talk to Cromdar. He's probably the most expert tracker explorer out here that we've got anyway.
Well, I'm used to the city, so yes, I would like to talk to him just to see what's out there and what we should be careful of. So that would be excellent. Can you introduce us?
Normally,
can we
but I believe he's I think he went to Tanelvar to sell some of his stuff. He should be back tomorrow, though.
Oh, maybe we can.
Probably tomorrow evening. So if you're not in a hurry, then yeah, you could wait around and I could introduce you to him. He's a bit surly, but he knows quite a bit of the land around here, more so than I do. But it's up to you guys, and he continues to drink a bit. He nods at a farmer who kind of is looking over at the table at you guys, like, "Hey, Jock, good to see you."
Okay, yeah, just small talk.
Yeah, he's like, "How's the wife?" And he kind of says, "Hey, let me know. If you stay around tomorrow, I can introduce you to him. I need to talk with Jock over here." So he starts over and you hear him start, "Hey, how's your wife?"
Old biddy. So kind of in a very low voice, that might not be a bad idea if we at least find. We don't have to hire him, but talk to him what's out there.
Yeah, I mean, you got the impression from Jan that this guy knows the area, can at least give you information about, what to expect out there. Maybe he could help you, maybe not. You'd have to figure that out by talking with him. But at the very minimum, he could at least tell you more about what to expect in the mountains.
Yeah, I'm kind of asking the other people in the group.
Yeah, I'm just clarifying it so you understood.
I think we could at least use the information.
And we're not in that much of a hurry. I mean, we want to get there, but a day or an afternoon probably won't be a huge difference. as the ominous music plays behind us.
I don't have any ominous music. I specifically don't play music, mostly because it's a pain in the ass to try to do through the VT. I've tried it multiple times, and sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't.
Got it.
The audio level just doesn't seem to work quite right.
That was just me trying to be.
No, I know. If I can figure it out and make it work correctly, I will start playing music and stuff. Like, that is the intent. I do want to do that, but I just haven't been able to make it work as I want it to.
Okay. Well, if there's a dart game or some type of games here, card game.
All right, so you guys kind of spend the evening
friendliness,
chatting a bit with like occasionally you a couple of the farmers do sort of noticing that you guys are now kind of just sitting drinking and sort of stuff. They kind of nod at you, and because remember the mayor had talked to you guys because, or not mayor, but the town. It's not headmaster, but the Baron's representative in the town, and the Thorpe had talked to you guys after you helped clean out that goblin thing. So they kind of know who you are in the sense that, like, they have a bit of your description in some sense. So occasionally they'll be like, "Oh yeah, I know you're the guys who did," and they'll chat with you guys for a little bit and thank you for your help and getting rid of the goblins before they became a menace and all that sort of stuff, and then they'll chat with you for a bit about what's going on in the town. Most of it's just, hey, it's the end of the harvest season. Things are starting to settle in. We're getting close to getting nearer to the fall tide. What's it called? The Festival of the Harvest at the end of this month, just in general, being somewhat chatty.
That's good. Yeah, definitely chat them up. Like I said, nothing revealing or anything. Just what type of festival they have, the harvest, and all.
Yeah, the Festival of the Harvest is basically, so the way the calendar kind of works in this campaign world is it's 12 months of 5 weeks of 7 days. So, but it follows the main moon, the Lunari. But Lunari takes a little bit longer than that. So every 2 months there is a 3-day festival. I think it's 3 days. Let me make sure it's 3 days. Yes, 3-day festival that kind of resyncs the moon up with the months. So there's a festival every 2 months. And that's like a couple months back was the festival of the what was it? Festival of the Tempest. So sort of it marks the ending of a summer. And now we're coming on the Festival of the Harvest. There's the 2 months after that is the Festival of the Long Night. So things of this nature and that sort of stuff. So that's basically all it is. Like your character wouldn't understand what this actually is, that this is just, because it's sort of a 3-day week, and to kind of keep the workers in line, so to speak. Now they just have festivals and things like that. Things still happen. People still do work and stuff like that, but it's just, I think instead of like leap years, they have sort of leap months. It's kind of the way to put it. To keep the calendar in correct. And so the Festival of the Harvest, the one guy is like, "Oh yeah, I've heard that there's a circus coming up to Tanalvar here in a week or so. I'm going to go to that, I think, as part of this." And then, and it's like, "Oh yeah, I heard about that. He's got some weird monsters or something and some strange little show." And the other one's like, "I heard he has a fortune teller."
We're going to make it to that circus yet?
I don't know. You might. They know about.
No, I know.
They've heard tell about the circus coming from Arkansas to Tanalvar, so that's all they're sort of implying.
Yeah, okay, that's what I'll plan on doing. Now I'm not going to drink too much or anything. Just be friendly and.
So you guys spend the evening speaking with some of the farmers, occasionally talking with Jan again. I mean, it's all pretty much small talk, and becomes next day. So, what are you guys doing? Do you want to wait for Cromdar to get back? If so, what do you want to do during this day?
That would be my vote, and I'll go out into the country and explore around, find herbs and that kind of thing.
Well, I mean, you could spend 10 hours and try to do your Alchemist fire.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. So I have a place I could do that. So I thought
you can use the room if you want to do it. I mean, it's a common room. Like I said, you guys are the only people using the inn right now.
Oh, okay.
I mean, Raventhorpe doesn't see a lot of inn traffic. It sees like Brenner's place is more of a tavern than it is an inn. He just happens to have 4 rooms at the top and then a common room up there. That's what he has and as extra. Because occasionally people do come through who want a place to stay. Because it's literally like just far enough out of Tanalvar that, you know, it's basically almost a whole day of travel, of walking travel to get there. So, you know, and so occasionally some hoity-toity merchant or somebody from Tanalvar that needs to do some business here in Raventhorpe will come, stay the night, and then go back the next day, kind of thing. So that's the reason for this inn. It's not an inn that's going to be. It's more tavern than inn, basically. So the fact that, you know, you guys were in the common room, well, it's the 3 of you in the common room, nobody else. So yes, you could set up your alchemists, your portable little.
Are you guys
alchemist
okay with doing that?
Yeah,
Asking for votes. That's my vote.
Yeah, that's good for me.
Okay.
Yeah, cool. Okay, sounds good.
All right. So give me an alchemist supplies check, intelligence check with alchemist supplies, so you can add your proficiency. Fine if you're double proficient, whatever it is, you know what I mean.
Let's see, I am just proficient.
Okay. Go ahead and do that.
Actually, saving throw would have been fine. Oh, wow. Good roll.
Good rolls. So yes, over the course of the day, you spend your time making your alchemist fire oil, and by the time you're all said and done, you have in essence an alchemist fire, a single alchemist fire.
I was thinking the alchemist class has something. Let me look that up. Supplies where you make a certain number per, but
well, this is an actual.
If you just want to do one
alchemist fire, like this is the actual potion.
Okay.
Like this one, you throw at somebody, and if it hits them, they take fire damage every turn until they make a dexterity save.
Perfect.
So I mean, so
yeah, that's
basically you throw this thing on a hit. The target takes 1d4 damage at the start of each of its turns. The creature can end this damage by using its action to make a dexterity check to extinguish the flames. Because it's an oil, so it's sticking to them. So they literally have to do something to get rid of it. So, yes, this is what you have. You have literally a flask of alchemist fire over the course of that day.
I will do that.
Anybody else doing anything? Sealgair, Silva, Morgoth.
I'm going to be studying the accent.
All right, give me another, what was it? Arcana check. Ooh. So you make no progress on figuring out much. You seem to be stumped by something. You're not quite sure what. So you spend most of the day looking into it, and just, unfortunately, you just don't make any progress. So I'm going to put this in. You're still at 15 research points towards turning that thing into something. You make a 1 here would, like, if you'd gotten a 2, you at least would have gotten 8 points, more points towards it. But a 1 means you literally just make no progress.
Yep. Oh well.
Morgoth or Sealgair, are you guys doing anything?
What is there to do around town?
It is basically just a very small village. There's literally like 10 houses. There's a blacksmith. There is a cooper because there is a vineyard not too far away. So cooper is needed for the barrels and stuff that they put stuff in there. There is a tanner because they have a lot of furs that come in through here. So he tends to buy stuff and makes lots of leather goods and things of that nature. The rest of it is basically just farming help families that help the various farms around here. So it's not known for its tourist activities, so to speak.
And I'll just, I don't know, do nothing really.
All right. You just spend the day.
I think I'll
hanging
try
around.
to.
What was that?
Oh, sorry. I think I'll try to meditate and reflect on what I can remember about the Grimm, the legends, and if I had recalled ever reading anything. And maybe I would assume that I have some documents from the church that I'd carry with me. and maybe looking through that to see if there was anything I could find out about, the Grim or something like that.
Give me a knowledge history check. So that's the first thing. Second thing is, you really don't ever carry any documents from the church because basically think of it as mission impossible. They disavow that the Inquisitors, well, that's not true anymore. In the last year or so, they've stopped doing that. So maybe you would have some. That's fine. But either way, make a knowledge history check.
Knowledge history. Where's history? History's under H.
Yeah, it's going to be history. So you remember the following stuff about the Grim. The Grim, in your recollection, it's kind of the boogeyman. Like, you're not sure if he truly exists at all, but the description they gave is that Rasputin gave is very similar to the description you've heard in the halls of the Order. He is known to have killed one of the most powerful Diary mages on Kelvin. And Kelvin being, we go back to our main thing, being sort of the main island in the archipelago. But that mage was supposedly, he killed that guy supposedly like 500 years ago. So if he is really the same guy, or if he's been alive that long, that's time, like, that seems like a very long time to be alive. He's also been known to, most of the time that you hear about him is from sort of the leaders of the Order, not necessarily, and occasionally from some of the actual rank and file, but not very often from the rank and file. So
yeah, originally
you really thought he was just sort of a ghost or a boogeyman in the sense of just something that the leaders of the Order use to keep new people in line, or to give them something to aspire to, or something of that nature. But given that there's a description from this guy that sounds very similar, maybe he is real. So your reaction of sort of terror is maybe not fully warranted, because you thought, until literally 2 days ago, you thought he was a myth. But a myth come to life is certainly not something you really want to have happen, if at all possible.
No, he's a myth for a reason.
Yeah. Most of the things you remember right off the top of your head.
Do you think it could be like maybe rather than one person who's lived 500 years, it could potentially be, like me, I'm a secret order, super secret, where they chose the best to succeed as the Grim, and they assume the title.
With that knowledge roll, you're not sure.
Okay.
You think that maybe it might, with that knowledge roll, you think it might be the same person.
How about a religion roll?
It would probably be more insight than it would be religion, quite frankly.
Okay.
It's just, this is sort of your intuition telling you, hey, that doesn't make any sense. It might be just a different person. So go ahead if you want to do an insight roll.
Insight. I don't know if it's going to be any better.
Thinking about it as you sort of mull it over in your mind during your meditation, the better explanation is that it's a different person. That you're correct. It's getting tapped every time to become, like, 19's pretty damn good. So, in your head, if there was sort of an epitome of your order that you wanted to aspire to, well, being the Grim would be that epitome. So maybe it is just the name given to the current best assassin of the Inquisition. And maybe he just disguises himself to always look like the same person. So it's fair. That seems, Occam's razor would say that seems a little out there. It could just be, it's a lot easier to just think of it as one person, but people don't live that long. We're talking 500 years ago or longer.
Even the elves, I don't think, live that long. That would, or at least would live that long and be healthy enough to be a top assassin.
Yeah. So, it seems possible that it could just be a different person given the same name every so as the people kind of fall out of their abilities, so to speak.
Yeah. And, to be fair, if you're being pursued by an assassin, you're not going to be calm enough to be getting detailed descriptions. So
Probably not.
Pretty easy to assume it's all the same person.
Yep. Yeah. So, I mean, it's relatively reasonable to think that maybe it's a different person every time, which sort of makes it a little less scary, but at the same time, well, crap, that means that even if you potentially, let's say the guy comes after you and you kill him, they're just going to make another one.
Yeah.
So, anything else you want to try to do during the day?
Just resting, relaxing, meditating, try to calm down and figure my life out.
All right. Evening comes. So you guys spend most of that time doing what you're after. And Brunner, when you guys come down to eat, or when you come in for eat, like Morgoth, you probably explored a little bit. Andal left for a bit and then came back. At a certain point when you come down to eat, Brunner kind of gives you a look like maybe he's expecting something from you, but doesn't say anything. He provides you with food and then goes back to behind the thing. At a certain point, Jan comes in again. He says, you're still here. I just saw Cromdar. He was just coming in from the thing. Give him about an hour, and he'll probably come into the inn. And an hour later, Cromdar comes into the inn. Cromdar looks like this. So Cromdar is about a 4-foot tall dwarf. He has a what did I have here? He's a grizzled little dwarf with dark red hair and a beard that is tucked into his waist. The braiding somewhat frazzled and unkempt. He kind of, as he walks in and looks, he kind of stamps his boots a little bit, like he thought he had snow or something on them. It's kind of weird. But he kind of looks around and then he's like, kind of nods over at Jan. Brunner looks up and says, Gromdar, it's good to see you again. Would you need anything to drink or anything like that? And the dwarf goes, Aye, I need a bit of drink, and I want some of your best beef. Otherwise, I won't be here again. And he goes and sits down at a table. And Brunner kind of looks at him and is like, Sure, right away. And he heads into the back room, and you can hear him just over as the door closed saying, Marla, the best beef again. We got Cromdar, he's back.
So he's got some respect,
or something.
Yeah.
Cromdar kind of looks around the room and notices you guys looking at him and sitting with Jan, and he's like, What are you looking at? Do you need something or what? He says that in your direction.
Yeah, nudging Brian to go. Or whoever's got the best charisma.
You guys.
I don't know. Silva's been our leader.
Who's been your leader?
I do not have the best charisma. Let's not.
I don't think anybody's got good charisma in this place.
Probably not. But Brian's been here. One of you guys has been here longer than I have. So
the short answer is that
yes, we would have talked. Yes, we were.
Is that there's a tie between Artemis and Andal. And I'm not going to do Andal for charisma today because
okay.
I'm not going to have an entire conversation for 2 hours with myself.
That'd be awesome.
I already do that plenty enough when I'm actually making things up.
Okay, what was his name again?
Cromdar.
Yes, Cromdar. Actually, we'd love to buy your drink and discuss some things with you. We we're looking at going out and understand you're the best person who knows the surroundings. So
He looks at you for a bit.
little bit.
Yeah, he looks at you for a bit, and then he kind of is like, Well, what are you waiting for? Where's the drink?
What would you like? Or actually just order him an ale. Because he looks like an ale guy. What do I think he orders? Actually, I'll tell the bartender, Cromdor would like a drink. Can you get him a drink?
Runner's like, all right, sir. Yes, right away. And he brings over a clay sort of short cup and a sort of a round jug, and he pours in this sort of amber looking liquid into it, and then he heads back. And Cromdor looks at it and he's like, "Hey, good dwarven whiskey. Perfect." And then he throws it down in one shot, and he puts it back on the table, and he says, "I'll have another." So what do you wish to know? As Brenner comes over and pours another thing in there.
So we're interested in and headed towards the mountains. We've heard various tales out there.
The Leovar's dangerous place.
That's what we understand. Hopefully, this early in the season, it won't be as bad. But we were kind of...
I'm not talking about the weather, lad. I'm talking about the ogres, the giants, the orcs.
Okay, insight. Is he bluffing it to make the story better, or is it actually...
Go ahead, give me an insight.
Okay. Sorry, got another site open.
That's fine.
Looking at the equipment. Let's see which rolls first. Oh, finally!
When we move to the automation stuff, you won't see the double rolls anymore. So it'll only be a single roll. So it'll make you feel better.
Yeah, that'd be better because it always looks like...
He's hard to read. I mean, he's got freaking hair everywhere. This dwarf is one of the hairiest dwarfs you've ever seen, and it's really unkept.
That's saying something.
But when he talked about the ogres, definitely seemed like he was being on the up and up. When he talks about the orcs, sounds like there's maybe something more there, that there's an undertone to something there. When he's talking about the giants, that seems like an embellishment.
Yes, that's what we're talking about. That's what we were...
But I mean, he sort of seems to imply that that's probably worse than that he thinks that's worse than the weather. Maybe towards you more about him than maybe the weather.
Yeah. Well, that and the weather's not as bad. It's more of a conversation type thing.
Aye. Well, depends on how far you're getting into. If they're getting far up into the mountains, you've got some of the yetis and other strange creatures I've seen. Although the yetis I try to stay away from. Those things are huge.
A giant size?
Oh, they're bigger than me.
Well,
I mean, he's a rather muscular looking kind of dude, though, so it's not like he's 4 feet tall, so he's short for a dwarf, but it's like he's a square.
Yes, I'm staying away from the height crap.
No. I'm just trying to point out, it's like, because of how strong how thick his arms and stuff are, not from muscle and stuff. He looks like a square, not like a short dwarf.
So, do you have any advice for us to try to stay away from them, or do you hunt up there?
Don't go into it. Stay here. Be
That's
soft.
good advice, but
why are you trying to get out there anyway?
We just heard rumors of things out there, and we're trying to explore. We're doing some traveling, so we were interested in. We've got a few maps that we found. So
found some maps of what? What are you looking for, lad?
Mountains themselves. We just know they're like.
I'll remind you that you guys have heard of the Dragonclaw Peak. That was one of the things that when you talked to Manson, he's pointed out approximately where it could be and things like that. That's an actual landmark that you know the name of. The rest of the frescoes, not so much, but you definitely had heard that landmark from, like, when you had mentioned sort of the claw-like peak. He had mentioned that as a potential. So as a thing you might point out to.
We had heard there were some older ruins up near the Dragonclaw peak older civilizations. I'm kind
I
of
don't know if there's any of that sort of stuff,
wizard.
but the peak is dead center in the mountains. It's going to take a bit to get into there, maybe a couple of days at the minimum. And the likes of you going into there, at least 3 then. You don't look like you've climbed a day in your life.
Well, you're probably right there. More of a academic than a climber.
But you say there's some kind of ruins there.
Well, some type of civilization. Like I said, I'm academic and I'm doing some research on things in the past. We've all done a little bit of that.
Need to roll quick.
Can we roll a deception?
No.
Or
You can. Yeah, go ahead and roll a deception.
it's not really deception. It's more of just
No, I know.
but yeah.
But I also need to have him do a roll. That's more the thing because he's trying to. Oops, I did not mean to do that. I meant to roll it, not add stuff to it. Okay. He said, okay, roll your deception, although I don't think you're going to beat that insight, no matter what. He's like...
Not with that roll.
He kind of lowers his voice a little bit. He says, are you looking for the ruins of Deltarak?
If they exist and we come across them, I would be ecstatic.
This is sort of what you're speaking of, lad. What have you learned that makes you think that they might be near the claw?
There were just some older books in what's the larger town? In a library in Islis.
No, Eiley.
In Eiley that I came across in some of my research for my master when I was learning. And so when I was no longer an apprentice, I made a vow to come this way and, see if I could find anything.
All right, now give me a deception roll because that's all bullshit.
Any persuasion?
No, that's total deception, man.
That's my master. I said master.
All right, he's like, all right, keep your secrets to yourself. You lads, though, don't look like you would last a day in the Lirvars, let alone the 3 or 4 it would take to get there and back, and then another 3 to get back.
Oh, if we had a guide, perhaps, someone who was familiar with the area.
He sits and thinks for a second, and then he throws back the other whiskey, and what's in it for you if you find it?
Well,
and when he started talking about Deltarak, his voice came down. He's not. It's not like I'm stage whispering to you in some sense. Like it's not like he's whispering, but he's not trying to carry his voice. He's not trying to the discussion has become much more serious as far as he's concerned from the way you feel and he doesn't necessarily want his voice to carry.
Okay. So I'll look left and right to see.
So the only people in here are Jan, Brunner. There is another farmer who's over on the other side near the fireplace kind of drinking. It's a late night in the thing for tonight. But those are the only other people.
I'm looking at my companions about if they give me a signal of how much to say or not say. Companions? That'd be you guys.
Yeah. Said. How to say what?
I mean, I'm not asking you. I'm just saying we're talking about. He's saying, "What is it in it for us?"
Yeah, no. So he brought up Deltarak after you guys, after Artemis sort of implied that there was dwarven ruins around. So
I just said ruins, but yeah, since they're all dwarven at this point, I got you.
Yeah, no.
And he's a dwarf, so
he's a dwarf, and you don't know his background and things like that. But so when he asked then, what's in it for you if you find it, that's when Artemis starts looking around the table like questioning at you guys.
Well, we're just right now we're just trying to see if it even exists. We want to see it.
And naturally, if we did find something, I'm sure there are things for education or advances. I'm sure there may be a penny or two in it, a coin or two in it. That I'm trying persuasion, so that's all.
Yeah, no.
Oh, don't need it? Okay.
Yeah, no. He's like, 50 gold.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty good.
I'll walk you around. I'll be your babysitter. We'll get to the claws. If we find the ruins, then we will amend the bargain. But for now, 50 gold. You're gonna take away from my time checking my traps. At the very minimum.
Again, kind of looking around, see if anyone's giving any type of
indication of anything.
Indication of where to go with this. Artemis just kind of got eyebrows raised, like that doesn't seem too bad.
Yeah.
He doesn't know if he should bargain too much.
Not
with
the
it,
one with the money.
Yeah.
Well, I know we said we had a ton. We were talking.
That being said, give me an insight. Whoever wants
yeah,
to
I
give
would
me an
like to roll an insight, please.
I'm glad I'm lousy at all these rolls.
I'm just saying.
That's not bad. I mean, stats wise, I'm not great though.
Yeah. Character wasn't necessarily built for insight.
Nope. Cat, you were.
It doesn't really matter if Cat does it. I mean, Artemis. It seems a little odd that he would jump from what's in it for you to just saying, "Hey, I'll do it for. I'll guide you for 50 gold." Sealgair and Silva. Cat, you've got the rolls today for your 0 point stats. Sealgair and Silva. There's something. There's an interest, as if he wants to go there as well.
Now,
there's an interest.
What's in it? What's in it for you?
Well, the gold, of course.
Well, I'm not so sure about the gold. We didn't even offer anything before you jumped on board. What's the sudden change of heart between skeptical?
It's between me and my gods. God, I totally lost my accent too. Damn it.
We have to know who we're traveling with. We have to be able to trust you.
Ye have to trust me.
Yeah.
And in any relationship, you have to trust us as well.
I'm 1, you're 5. I think the other shoe is on the foot. Terrible idiom, but
you're the one that knows the area.
So I will remind you that that there are dwarves out there who would love to find Deltarune, because they're like many of the city dwarves that you see that I call the city dwarves are the clanless, claim to be from Deltarune. Their families are from Deltarune, and they just don't know where to go to find it. So maybe he's one of them. Maybe he's not. I mean, it's just putting that into your head. Sounds like you know where to go. If you already have the idea of going to the Dragon Claw, it's a pretty obvious landmark once we get there. It's not like I can truly get you lost. Now is it?
So here's my question.
Why do we need you to come with us at all?
Do you know where it is in the first place?
You just said it'd be a pretty easy landmark to find.
Once we find it, once you see it, do you see it anywhere around here?
So here's my question.
Yeah.
And, relay to him the stories about, the dwarfs claiming to be from there. When we say we need to trust you, for example, we get there and as our right lay claim to treasures. If you lay claim to the city saying it's your lost heritage, there's going to be a fight. And everything we've worked so hard for, you'll try to take from us with that claim.
Let's say disagreement. Fight. That's a strong word.
Disagreement. Okay. I'll go with disagreement.
John's playing his 11.
Yeah, exactly.
12 charisma.
Again, lads and lasses, because there's 3 lads, 2 lasses. 5 of you, one of me. Sure.
One of you today.
They may.
Many.
What's to say that when we get there and I show you find the spot, there's no reason that you have. There's no reason left for you to not kill me, to just hide the secret. I'm trusting you just as much as you're trusting me here.
Okay. Fair enough.
I want to find the place. I'm willing to help you find it. Again, once we get there, and we found that out, and we truly know that it is what the place is that you're looking for, then we'll talk more.
It could be other ruins, but
it could be.
I mean, it would be an incredible find. And I'm playing up my excitement, even though I'm not necessarily as excited for this, just to pull the academic thing again, the type of thing.
50 gold.
Will you give us a moment to discuss it? We'll go right over here.
Certainly, as long as I can have another one of these whiskeys. Brona! Brona comes over and pours another whiskey.
I'm trying to figure out how much these whiskies are.
He picks it up and then heads over, starts staring into the fire as he starts sipping it now. He doesn't just throw it back. Go ahead, do your talk.
So I kind of think it's a good move. We probably won't find it itself. If we can just find the area, it can help us. We're not, I don't know about the rest of you, but the wilderness is not necessarily my, where I choose to spend much of my time. I think it's a reasonable assumption. Now, yes, he could. I mean, I don't know if he could get out there in the winter. If it goes well, perhaps he could help us in the spring.
Think it's a worthy investment.
Or things could happen. Artemis shrugs.
Andal doesn't sound terrible.
I mean,
we sort of have the. He lowers his voice. We sort of have the frescoes, but we don't know exactly where to go once we start going. Like we just know we need to find this mountain. So I don't know how we're going to find that mountain without a lot of searching back and forth across the mountains.
I'm fine with him coming with.
And Andal says, if we have to, we shut him up.
Exactly.
I mean, it's not necessarily. Andal is not an assassin. You've never gotten that idea, but at the same time, he's not exactly Mr. Goody Two Shoes either.
I'm good with it. Split the pay 25 up front, 25 when we get there. I think is what I'm gonna offer him.
Put give him 25 now.
Yeah, he's
25 when we get back.
No, he's saying when you get to the call.
Because he said if we find the place, the deal would change then anyway. So
yeah,
25 up front, 25 when we get to the landmark.
How about 20-20-10 or 30-10-10, just so he has some reasonable.
Well, if we can get there, we can get back.
All right, very well. 25-25 sounds reasonable.
I'm not too worried about the trip back. I mean, can we not reasonably? I mean, I've been making maps of this entire place.
Yeah, no.
As I'm going,
you have to do some survival checks if you had if you were going on your own to do this either direction, you'd be doing some survival checks. Trying to go backwards is easier than trying to go forwards.
Yeah, and I'm planning on trying to sketch in the map as we go anyway. So
that's fine.
That sounds like a good idea. Excellent idea to not give it all up front.
But yeah.
Can we call him back over?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
All right.
He trundles back over and sits back down and he says, "So what have you thought about my offer?"
Go ahead.
I believe we have an accord. I think this is an excellent opportunity, and fate itself has brought us together.
Well, fate, possibly. It's Jan over there that seems to be the one that's between us.
One stipulation before we agree on anything. I'm not. You can get your 50 gold, but it's only getting half up front, half when we get where we're going.
He looks between you and Artemis for a little bit, and he sort of, as he's looking at Artemis, he says, I must took something here. And then he turns and looks at Silva and he says, aye, lass, I can deal with that. Next time, just start the talking up front. You don't need to have the lackey do it for you.
No lackeys here. We're all equals.
So you say, so you say. We heading out tomorrow?
Yes. As long as that's good with everybody else.
I'll meet you out front at the beginning at dawn. Don't be late.
Of course not.
He throws back the rest of the whiskey and he says, "So then," and he nods at Jan, nods at Brunner, and then he says, I'm not going to be needing that steak today. Maybe in a week or so." And then he heads out. And you see Brunner like, and he runs back into the kitchen and says, "Take it off!" You hear, "Take it off! Take it off!"
What should we give the innkeeper, since he was obviously looking? Was it innkeeper who was looking for something, or was it Jan?
No, it was the innkeeper.
That was the innkeeper. So, are we paid him for 2 nights?
No, you only paid him for one.
So
that's clearly what he's
pay him
after.
For another night.
Yeah, we'll pay him.
Let's clarify that.
That's clearly what he's after. Also, you now owe him for 3 whiskeys, which is going to be 3 gold pieces, by the way.
I figured it'd be ridiculous. We'll let the leader try that. Have that, Silva.
So you guys settle up. So again, it's 5 silver for the 2 rooms, and then 6 copper for the 3 of you in the common room, plus the 3 gold for the whiskeys.
Okay. And I did give you that 10 gold, Brian. I took it off. If you want to add that to your sheet, if you haven't already.
And you guys head to your rooms, sleep through the night.
Yes.
And it becomes dawn of the next morning. You guys get up and quickly head out to the front door, and there is standing Krontar. He's kind of got his arms crossed. He's tapping his right foot. He's like, "I was wondering if you're ever going to get here. Sounds like it didn't feel like you really had it in you to try to actually go. We ready?"
Yep.
I'm ready to go.
All right. So,
anything we know before we start off?
Well, we're heading to the claw, right?
Yes.
The easiest way I know is probably the hardest way for you guys. So we're going to follow the river here until we get to the headwaters, and then we'll head up to a small canyon that I know of. And it'll take us through into a small valley that will then head us to the actual to the mountain itself. And he's been walking as he's been saying this, so I'm assuming you guys are following with it.
Yes.
Now you're gonna see once we get up into that canyon, which probably be tomorrow, to be quite honest, given your he looks at Silva, given your stature, it's gonna take us. We'll probably get to the actual canyon today, but we'll probably not want to try to climb up it this evening. But once we get into there we will be crossing into Orkland. And you're going to want to be a little bit careful. They usually aren't too warlike, but I don't know what they'll do with some of you. And then he goes quiet as he starts literally following the track that's along the river out of Raventhorpe. So you guys, if you zoom in on the map a little bit, you guys are starting right here.
Okay.
And you start following along Tanelvar, the Tanelvar River, or the Tanel River, heading through sort of a cleft between these. So these aren't really this high of a mountain. This is just the best symbol I had. They're really not snow capped here, but they are in the center. So you're kind of following the river around the edge of the edge of some rather mountains, but not super tall mountains yet. This is sort of similar in the direction you guys went to the. It's not exactly like so. If we were looking on this map, the goblin place that you guys were at was actually more down in here, in this area, and the place where they dropped the mountainside on top of you guys was more up in this area. So, based on that and the map that you have, Brian or Silva, you think that third place is probably somewhere in here somewhere.
Okay.
That's your guess. So just as an FYI for future reference on things. So you guys start heading along through the river, and by midday, you guys are maybe kind of you kind of come into us. The place narrows a bit, but not so much that you would consider it like a canyon or anything like that. I mean, it's maybe about a half mile across from one side to the other as it narrows. You head through there and then come out into a more large open thing. And as you come out in there, he like turns to you guys. It's again around lunchtime, and he's like, "Welcome to Tennel Vale. This is where the Tennel River starts. Well, at least the other end." And he starts following it, and he's like, "It's going to take us most of the rest of the day to get there, but keep your eyes out. Beasts and things are around here. Might need to either run or defend ourselves." And with that,
Okay.
make a roll.
Condor, are you from these lands? I mean, are you from this area, or how did you come to do this?
I grew up in a place in Danelvar itself. When it was that's not true. That's not true at all. Hold on, I keep forgetting his age of Kramdar. I grew up around here, yes, but more near the lake. My family lived what is now called Tanavar, but at the time it was just a small little village run by the Daeri. They were mostly just tracking folk, traders, fishermen, that sort of stuff. Not very many of them, maybe 50 in the village. I don't know. My father.
Wholesome living.
Pardon?
Wholesome and quiet living.
Yes. My father never really said where he came from, but I knew it was further to the north. He had moved down here because some trouble or something. I don't know exactly what, but it doesn't matter. I moved when the city started taking off because of the stuff they found in the hills. I decided to move away. I didn't like all the buildings. They were too much. The nature. I like the nature. But yes, I've watched most of Tanavar grow up in the time I've been here. In fact, far longer than most. So yes, I've explored quite a bit.
Keep going.
The gist you get is that he's like maybe 250 years old.
Yeah.
Because if he's talking about Tanavar when it was a fisherman's village and all that sort of stuff, like the city proper has really been named Tanavar about 100 years ago at the most. Before that, I mean, you would know a little history that it was sort of a small fishing village, and that it was controlled by the Daeri. Like Tanavar was called Tanavar because the Daeri, or because the Sealgair, took over this area. That's when it became Tanavar. So, like the Sealgair have been rulers of the Nyrel Marches for the last 100 to 125 years. The Daeri clan of the Nyrel, the Nyreli is what they were called, was basically, this is the Nyrel kingdom 125 years ago. Mostly Daeri nobles and things like that running this kingdom. And this city of Tanavar had become sort of a town at that point, maybe about 600 people, maybe about the size of what Arken Falls is today. But it was named something else. it wasn't named Tanelvar. The river has always been named Tanel, but the city wasn't always named that. So that's kind of all the history you know here. But I mean, that means he's at least 125, probably older than that, because like I said, it was a town of about 600, 125 years ago. And, you know, villages take a while to turn into towns and usually take a while to turn into cities. Unless, you know, iron and that sort of stuff is discovered in the hills around it.
Something money-wise.
Yeah, suddenly money. So, you know, if it was a village, that's probably another 100 years right there. So, you know, that puts them in the neighborhood of 225 or something like that.
How old do dwarves get in this universe?
About 350 to 400 years.
He's middle-aged then, somewhere in there.
Yeah,
if my guess is somewhat right.
Yeah, he's probably middle-aged. He goes quiet after kind of telling you that, as if he's a little introspective. You guys kind of break for lunch. Like this sort of happened at lunchtime. Like you come around the thing, you kind of come up, see the expansiveness open up a little bit. The valley here is probably about, or the vale, really more than a valley, is probably about 3 miles in width at its largest dimension, and it looks like it's maybe about 6 or 7 miles long. You know, figure another half day, maybe a little less than a half day, you'll probably make it to the other end. And you can see, you know, this sort of stream. At this point in time, the Tanel River isn't really a river. It's more of a stream than anything else. You can see it kind of meandering through, because you're kind of looking up. You're going to be heading upwards through this valley. Not super steep through the valley, but you can see it kind of meandering in. And you can see these cascading waterfalls and stuff on the edges, kind of coming down, turning into little creeks and things like that eventually merge up with the Tanelvar river itself, or the Tanel River itself. And so you kind of have this, you know, alpine valley kind of looking thing. It's not super, like there's occasional copses of evergreen trees, sort of a grassland to it in some places, but not a lot of, you know, you wouldn't expect that you would be, if you were to live here, it would probably be a hard existence if you were to live inside of this vale. That being said, maybe in about 100 years, people might be living in this vale, given the fact that, you know, civilization continues to expand and things like that. And maybe somebody someday will find some kind of iron ore in the mountains that are around here, and that will make it explode, you know, even more. It's kind of the feeling you get. So he kind of picks up and he says, all right, let's get going. We need to make it to the other end by nightfall so that we can get ready to climb the mountain tomorrow. And he starts off. Guys,
follow, yeah. Trying to keep an eye out as best I can for...
All right, so give me a perception check as you're going. As you kind of guys are moving along, no, that's fine. You're kind of looking around. You happen to notice that up on the western side here, up on this portion right in here as you're coming around, you notice there's a few, you'd say caves, maybe about 200 feet up the valley side, but it's hard to tell. Like they look sort of cave-like. They're like holes in the valley side, but they don't look super tall or anything like that. Maybe that's why it's hard to tell given the distance and things like that. You're not 100% sure if they're caves or just dark spots in the stone or what. But they're maybe about 150, 250 feet up the valley side. A couple of them, one of them, it looks like some water comes out of it. So maybe that one's clearly a cave because water is coming out of it and kind of cascading down. But the other ones you're not sure 100% of as you're kind of moving through the valley.
Are those, anything live in those? Orcs or anything? Goblins in those caves up there?
I don't know. Probably some cougars or something like that. Those are pretty small. Maybe 3 or 4, 5 feet tall, maybe. They don't go back very far. Most of the one, you see the one with the water coming out of it. That one's just... the melt through the rocks kind of siphons all the way through, and there's a pool in there, if I remember correctly. And that eventually just kind of percolates out as it fills up, and now you see the waterfall. The rest of them are just places that like beasts and stuff live.
You had mentioned orcs. I didn't know how orcs traveled here, if they were
Excellent on this side.
fans.
They tend to stay more in the center of the mountains. They don't like the people. You humans, they don't like you.
And that's fine. We can stay away from each other. That would be ideal, in fact.
Give me a knowledge history. Give me a history check. All of you.
So
I could have had the best thing ever. Silva's good. Right. So Artemis, as you're kind of listening what he has to say, it doesn't jive 100% with what you recall with orcs. Like, you definitely, yes, in the past, orcs have been somewhat warlike, but there hasn't been an orc raid or anything like that in the Nyril Marches in maybe 50, 60, 100 years. It's been a long time, actually. You do see half orcs around. It's not like half orcs are unknown, but you would be hard pressed to find anybody that you personally know that has seen an orc, an actual full-blooded orc, in their lifetime. Morgoth, most of your recollection is that orcs are bad. That's pretty much it. Silva, however, you have had a different upbringing because of your family, and you know for a fact that the orcs they tend to stick to themselves. They live in tribes. They live in clans that have several tribes in them, and that they don't like dealing with the humans because the humans tend to attack them and steal their stuff, take their land, take their stuff, give them bad deals. Think of orcs as sort of like American Indians. They just
honorable in their way. They
just want to keep their stuff. They don't, and they're getting tired of people stealing their stuff and forcing them to move and things like that. So now they're kind of stuck in the mountains here, because your family's actually talked to some orcs. They're sort of stuck in the mountains here because that's the only place where the humans haven't kind of really tried to come in after them yet. Sealgair, you have a similar thing where you know that the orcs are not nearly as warlike as humans try to make them out to be. And it seems like Promdar here is trying to make them out as being more warlike as well. When in actuality, Silva and Sealgair, you're pretty sure they're just trying to defend themselves from aggression.
Okay.
Is he scowling or anything? Like he has history, or do I think he's more? Well, I don't know. Never mind. I rolled badly. Go with that.
So he continues to follow along the river, the stream. You guys keep up with him. Let me do another check to see if there's any kind of thing that happens. The answer is nope. So by dusk, you guys, by about dusk time, or the suns start to come across the other side of the mountains. So it's not really dusk yet. You probably had a couple hours before night really falls, but the mountains now are shielding the suns from shading or from putting light on the valley. You guys make it to the other end of this vale, and looking up, you can see a beautiful, like 150, 250, actually probably closer to 500 foot waterfall coming, just flowing down the side of this thing, and landing in a pool, and the stream comes right out of this pool. Clearly this is what you would probably consider maybe the where the Tannel River starts from, but
headwaters.
Yeah, but there's more up top there, clearly, because obviously there's this waterfall coming down it. But this is probably what would be considered the headwaters of this particular stream or river. And in fact, you've probably been walking through it the whole time, just because of all the other streams that are cascading down and kind of coming into this thing. It's pretty obvious that like you don't get there's not a ton of rain that comes in. Like this particular area gets maybe 20 inches of rain a year at the most. But because of the snow melt that happens almost all year round, or at least during the summer months, that's where most of this water is coming from. It's coming from snow melt above on the mountains above. that you can kind of see up above there. The temperature here as doesn't ever really get much above 70 during the day. In fact, as the suns kind of go across and the direct sunlight doesn't hit you anymore, it drops a good 10 degrees just from that. And it starts to cool down quickly. You've probably went up maybe another, over the course of this valley, maybe about 1,000 feet over the course of that 6 miles. So it's been a relative, it's somewhat hard trek. Everybody give me a Constitution ability check. Not a saving throw, just an ability check. We'll see. Anybody that gets a 1. Anybody that gets a 1 is probably So Artemis and Sealgair, you guys are actually exhausted at this point. You're going to take a point, a level of exhaustion, because of the pace that he put you through and going up this thing. The rest of you are fine. Let me check Andal real quick. He does a Constitution ability check.
Because I'm doing so well with my rolls before an exhaustion point.
Andal is also exhausted. So you guys kind of get there. You're panting a little bit heavy. You're feeling a little tired. In fact, Andal and Artemis, you guys have a headache. You're feeling a little bit lightheaded. And Cromdar looks back and he says, "I knew you guys weren't up to the task. We'll camp here for the night, right here at the base of the falls. If we want, there's a little bit of fishing we can do in here. Not a lot of fish. We can get a few, and that'll be enough for us this evening. But if you've got some rations, you might just want to have them instead, especially you two. You guys look like you might be sick."
I can't disagree. As I sit down, tired, my head in my hands, pulling out some rations.
All right, so you guys start setting up a camp. Somebody give me your survival check for a camp, for making your camp.
I got it.
Yeah, I was gonna say probably Morgoth. Sealgair did it before you. Actually, Sealgair, because of your exhaustion point, you have disadvantage on that. So 9 isn't so great, but
well, can someone help her? Do you ever balance it out? Or is it too late since she rolled?
I mean, she did it. Somebody else can do it as well. There's no balancing out. Like, if somebody said they were going to help her, then it would have been different. But
okay.
I kind of start to do some of the stuff clearing and unpacking, and I just like sit down and can't do it anymore. So somebody else notices and they take over.
That's fine.
Sounds good to me. I'll give assistance to whoever's putting stuff up.
Morgoth, you start setting things out, and you kind of point out, hey, we really shouldn't be doing it over there. We should do it over here. It's a little bit higher. That way, if for some reason more water comes out and the lake rises, or the little pool rises a bit, we won't be in the water and that sort of stuff. And so you guys, with Morgoth's help, get a camp set up and quickly have a fire going. Cromdar kind of sits down and takes out this big long pipe and lights it from a twig from the fire and smokes it for a little, starts smoking with it. He's like, "Good job there, city man. You member of the guard back in Televar. Kind of look like you have that look about you." He's speaking at you, Morgoth.
Well, I've never really been one for staying in the city.
Well, not often I see the guard out here in the wilderness. Good on you.
No guard anymore.
Huh, even better on you. He smokes some more of his pipe. Anybody doing anything?
I'm gonna rest.
Yeah, I will definitely go for the rest early. I'll brew something to help alleviate some of the symptoms.
Yeah, you brew a tea.
I'll brew enough to several of us.
Does it require like a full night's rest to get rid of an exhaustion?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
You need a long rest to get rid of these. Ramdar kind of sits there for a bit and he says, over the next couple of hours, You guys have some food. He gets up at a certain point and starts setting out some equipment on like a blanket. It looks like your Clamors Kit. It's not your Clamors Kit, but it looks like the stuff you have in your Clamors Kit. So it looks like he's prepping stuff for maybe tomorrow. And then after he's kind of gotten that all set, he kind of nods his head, rolls it up in the blanket, and then turns it around, and then he sits down next to it and he says, "All right, somebody needs to do some watching, and just to make sure that none of the cougars think we're dinner. See you in the morning." And then he puts his head on that blanket and he just starts to go to sleep. Clearly, he's not going to do any watches.
First watch.
I guess. I'll take last watch because maybe I'll be not as exhausted then because I started early maybe by resting and doing nothing.
All right. Morgoth, you're first.
Yep.
By the way, Silva, make sure you took off 25 gold for the start of this because he would have. I didn't explicitly say.
Yeah, I took off 25 gold for him.
All right. So Morgoth, you kind of sit down there by the fire, kind of keep it going a little bit, because it definitely starts to get a little bit colder. Like it starts to get by about midnight or by about the end of your watch, it's kind of in the mid 40s. So definitely a chilly night. You think it's probably easily going to make it close to freezing before it's all said and done. In fact, it's probably low 40s already. And nothing seems to happen as you check my moons. As you watch the sliver of Linari kind of go kind of slowly go over the edge of the mountains. So Linari is basically about the size of our moon. In perspective, it looks like about that same size in the sky, but it's got a greenish tinge to it. In fact, it's kind of got a fuzzy greenish tinge to it, almost as if it has an atmosphere. And I'll put an image in here at some point of the various moons to show you guys. Your watch goes by without any issue, though. Who are you waking up next?
Who is next?
I don't
I've
remember.
got third watch.
Yeah, Artemis is third watch.
Sealgair is exhausted.
I guess Andal will do it.
Yeah, okay.
Who is also exhausted.
That's everybody's exhausted. Yeah, sure.
So-
Silva's the only other one who's
I
not
was thinking
exhausted.
Silva take one.
I'll do one of the first two. It doesn't matter to me.
All right, so you wake up Silva. Silva, you wake up, and you notice that coming up in the east is Hainari, Firdag, and Tilvari. And Tilvari is the one that you're most interested in because that is the moon that is most associated with the goddess of magic. And when you look at it, it's definitely multicolored with purples and greens and oranges and reds. And it's maybe about half the size of Linari in perspective. But it casts sort of a strange glow on the landscape. Give me an Arcana check.
All right. Hold on.
And then I'll do my check for any possibilities. Okay.
Oops.
So you know from your studies and stuff like that during the exact hour of the full moon of Tilvari, it acts as if you have a detect magic spell on for those magic practitioners. You can literally see, but not just a 60-foot kind. Like you can see as far as you can see that if it's not blocked by something, you can detect magic because of the glow of Tilvari. But again, during the exact full moon of Tilvari. That is not what's currently going on. It's actually waning gibbous right now. So Firdag, however, is like an orangey, pockmarked moon. Think of it as if it looked like Io from the various pictures from the Hubble. It's a little bit smaller than Tilvari in the sky. Hainari is again sort of a bluish, a teal bluish color, and it is also kind of a fuzzy outline to it, as if it had an atmosphere. It is actually bigger than the two of them, but still no more than half the size of Lenari in the sky as you're watching. Just giving you some lore, guys, today, because I finally figured all this stuff out a couple weeks ago.
Oh.
Over the course of your 3 hours or so, you kind of watch around. It's oddly quiet here, more so than when you're in the city. Or even Ravensthorpe. At least with Ravensthorpe, you heard some bugs and things like that. Doesn't seem to be any bugs even out here. Occasionally you hear an owl or something like that go off, but that's about it. So oddly quiet. Another interesting thing is just the sheer number of stars and things you can see up here. Like, again, normally you're in the city, you don't really take the time to look up. And with the ever lamps that are in Tanelvar, it sort of makes it so you can't quite see as much of the night sky as you can out here. It's actually rather beautiful looking. But nothing else seems to happen along your particular thing, and you wake up Artemis. Artemis, as you wake up, the three moons are well over halfway through their transit in the night sky. And you feel refreshed. Technically, your point isn't gone until you get a long rest, but you have had the equivalent of a long rest at this point. It's far enough. And you start looking around and doing your turn. The fire has kind of burned low. Silva didn't really keep it up too much. But you try to kind of stir it to life, and you get a bit of a glow, but not much of a flame. As you are doing that, you hear a low. Give me a perception check to see if you can figure out where it's coming from. Wow.
Woo.
Nicely done.
Finally.
You kind of look up with a start and look around a bit. Across the other side of the stream, you see just barely in the three moons lights. You see a creature who's looking at you from on the other side. It looked like maybe it had drank from the lake or the pond, pool. My God, it's a pool, not a lake. It's not anything like that. And it's now looking at you. Well, at least you think it's looking at you. The size of the creature is maybe about 3 feet at the shoulder, and it's definitely a four-legged creature. I think maybe it might be a cat of some sort, probably a cougar. But because you don't have a really bright flame going on or anything like that, it's all embers in there, you're not getting any glint off of the eyes to be definitive that it's a cat of some sort. What are you doing?
Okay, so but I'm not on mute. I will pull a vial out of my bag and spill it over a do I have a sling? I don't think I have a sling on this. I guess on a crossbow bolt. Well, that'll probably be used. I'll just put it on a rock and throw it. Can I throw to it? Is it close enough for that, or is it more of a crossbow bolt?
You figure it's maybe about 100 feet away. So maybe you can reach it with a rock. I mean, it'd be a strength.
Yeah, it'd be a throw.
Yeah.
I'll pour a little bit on a crossbow, moving slowly, crossbow bolt, and kind of arc it up in the sky, so hopefully it'll land close enough to it to see what it is.
All right. So as you're kind of doing that, the creature it had been sort of down and looking at it. It kind of stands, like it had been drinking but hadn't fully stood up from that. And it stands up and looks and kind of pads a little bit closer as you're pulling the thing out and starting to pour it on it. And then you hear another.
Does it come from that one?
It's
or
coming from that direction. All right,
okay.
So fire your crossbow. Give me an attack roll. I'm assuming you're not trying to hit it.
No, I'm not.
This is just more of trying to get it close.
Yeah.
All right, so you get it exactly where you want it to be.
I crit it.
And what are you expecting it to do with your thing that you just
did? It's light, so it sheds a 20-foot light around the bolt.
Okay. Is it a light cantrip?
It is light cantrip.
Okay, so make sure you push that.
Oh, hold on. It's. Oh yeah. Sorry.
Yeah,
So
no, just making sure. All right, so it hits and the light bursts out, and you see the creature kind of back up real quickly. And it's clearly a cougar, and it's a pretty decent sized cougar. Like, you thought it was about 3 feet at the shoulder. It's actually 4 feet at the shoulder because it was tucked down still from drinking. And you've definitely startled it from the light. Let me give it a real quick check as to how much you startled it. But after that initial startle, it kind of turns and bounds maybe about 20-30 feet, and then it turns and looks back at you, and then as the light, and you can still see it in the light, and it's looking at you.
As long as I can see it, I'm not gonna do anything with it. I mean, I'll keep my crossbow not aimed at it, but I'll have another bolt loaded.
Okay.
Which I need to drop my ammo.
It kind of starts to circle around the edge of the light and get a little bit closer towards you, and then it growls again. Everybody can give me a perception roll with disadvantage, except for Artemis. You don't need to. You're awake. I don't know why you attacked with a crossbow, Artemis.
I knocked off an arrow. I didn't actually hit the crossbow, did I?
Yeah, it said you attacked with it.
Sorry. I marked an ammo.
No, it's okay. All right, Sealgair, you don't wake up. Silva, you actually wake up after that growl. Morgoth, you also wake up from that growl. So you guys, you wake up and you see that there's a globe of light about 100 feet away, and you can see a cougar kind of standing at the edge of it, maybe about 110 feet from you guys, from your camp. And it's growling. Its tail kind of twitches a little bit. And then it cocks its head as if it notices the other two of you wake up, and then it bounds away. Away from the light, down the stream and towards the western side of the vale.
I think that was the only one of them. As 3 jump off a tree and slaughter me.
As you die.
the city boy.
Looking around,
all of them.
Looking around, you don't notice any others. Do you? So the light is going to stay there for an hour.
Yeah.
But you know,
I think I can just. Can I not?
I don't know if you can. I mean, you probably can, but I mean,
if you want to keep that, it's a funnier thing.
It's funnier that it's just there for an hour. It's kind of funnier. So yeah, there's the lights there. You guys kind of like Artemis had given you an explanation. Anybody doing anything?
I'm trying to sleep off the exhaustion, man.
Yeah, I know. You didn't wake up, so you're fine. The other two did wake up, though. All right, so you guys head back to sleep.
Go back to sleep. I'll absolutely have to watch.
And dawn eventually comes. Nothing else happens. You guys get a long rest. So those of you who had, a level of exhaustion no longer have it. You actually feel a little bit better. You no longer have the headaches and stuff that you're having before. Gramdara gets up and I should have given Gramdara a perception roll, but who cares? Same with Andal, but whatever. He kind of gets up and looks around and says, we're still alive. You guys at least know how to watch. All right, get your stuff out. You have climbing gear, I assume. We're going to be climbing up this rock here, right here. We're going to get to the top today, and then we'll head along the canyon up there until we get to a pass that takes us over into a valley. You'll see. And so he starts. He gets out puts on his gear. He's like,
put on mine.
I'm going to go up. I will start leaving a rope behind. All right, you guys should just follow and carry the rope and go on with the rope, and one at a time. All right, let me get up as I get up halfway, then start. And so you watch him start to free climb up. Give him a check, because it's more fun if he does something stupid. And here we go. Oh, he doesn't do something stupid. So he starts climbing up, and he gets about 25 feet up or so, and he puts in a piton and kind of wraps the rope around it. And then he continues going up, and he gets up another 25 feet and does the same thing and puts the rope around it. And then he does that one more time. So at about 75, or no. Yeah, he does that 2 more times. So at about 100 feet, you see that all the rope that he had kind of wrapped around himself is now all tied into the stuff. And he basically climbs all the way back down and says, all right, I need some of your rope. He's like, I forgot how long it is.
I'll give him one of my 50 feet of rope.
All right. I'm going to start up. And you're going to need to start following behind. Last person up. And he looks at you, Morgoth. He's like, you be the last one up. You're gonna have to carry the ropes back up with us. So because we will need them again later.
Wait.
All right. So he starts going up.
And I think I still have my familiar. I don't actually think that goes away until you dismiss it.
No, it does not.
So yeah, I've still got the owl flying around just around us.
All right.
I would have introduced it to
let me give Kamdar doing his second one. Like, this is a good 500-foot climb. Oof. Luckily he got the 8 at least.
That's not good.
He starts climbing up the next 25, and you see him grab on something and it breaks free, and he falls about 15 feet, and then it catches on that piton. And he catches against the thing. He's like, this is why you have the harness and the climbing equipment. As he climbs himself back up to the last spot, and he starts climbing again. There we go. And he gets that next 50 feet up. He actually takes rope from like multiple people. So he's got 200 foot of rope. So he gets up another 100 feet. And now, who's following up next? And whoever it is needs to give me an athletics check.
I will follow up next.
All right.
Do you have advantage or anything because of the rope, or just won't let you fall?
No, I just don't. Your DC is lower.
Okay.
I'll go after John.
Okay. All right.
Lord.
No, 7's good enough. There's a rope. So you climb up the 50 feet. Go ahead, Sealgair. You're going to be next. You do fine as well. Let me give Andal a roll.
My turn.
Andal's going to go next. He just makes it. All right,
Wow.
Give me Silva, and then we'll do a Morgoth. Silva's fine. And then Morgoth.
All right.
All right. So over the course of the next 3 hours, you guys slowly make your way up this rock, up the cliff side here, about 500 feet to the top of this waterfall. I'm only going to make you do one roll. This would be crazy to do all of them. It's just silly. And Morgoth, I do need one thing for you to do. Give me one more athletics check. This is basically you untying the ropes and bringing them up behind. All right, you do fine. So you guys make it up to the top and still have all your pitons and all the rope that you use to get up there. Making it to the top, you come up into exactly what we talked about, like a canyon. It's like a narrow canyon, maybe about anywhere from 15 to 30 feet wide, with this kind of small stream that goes through. The stream is about 2 or 3 feet wide. It doesn't look super deep, but it looks like the stream is the thing that's been cutting this canyon probably for centuries, if not thousands of years. But what's odd is that as you kind of pull yourself up onto the top, you realize that some of the stones, as you're pulling yourself onto the ledge or into the canyon, seem worked, as if somebody like formed them. Anybody who's intrigued by that should give me an investigation check.
I will investigate. 1 second.
No problem. So Silva, for you, yeah, the stone is rounded, it's weathered. Maybe it's just the trick of the weathering. For the other two, Artemis and Sealgair, as you get up over onto that, you realize that these are very reminiscent of worked cobblestones. But they're not like in a proper road bed kind of thing. It's like they've been eroded and weathered away and things like that. Like Sealgair, I would say that you think it's old cobblestones. Artemis, you think that maybe this was possibly a road through here. But
these aren't on the side of the mountain. They're actually
no. There's like this is a canyon in the mountain.
Okay.
So this is next to the stream that's been cutting through here. So
I will make a note, and I'll try to look for more.
Yeah, the stream that's on the stream that like it's sloughed off and things like that, and the stream seems to have cut through in places. As you guys get up there and you're looking around with that, like those rolls, you actually notice that there are spots where the stream is cut through, where clearly there's more of these kind of rocks that have fallen over onto the stream and things like that. It's pretty obvious now that you see that sort of stuff that at some point in the past, a cobblestone road went through this canyon. And you can see parts of it is higher up, maybe about 15 to 20 to 30 feet up. Some of it's kind of lower. I mean, it's typical sort of the thing you might see as if a place has been eroded from erosion from a stream for, say, a couple thousand years.
Yeah, I was going to ask, do you have any guess of how long it's been?
Well, given that like as you're looking around, you notice again with the 18, as you're looking around, you notice that there's a spot about 20 to 30 feet up where you can see sort of a flat spot on the side of the canyon, and if you had to get like almost unnaturally flat, like a ledge that's almost unnaturally flat, if you had, and then below that in a spot like it looks like about 15 feet down, you can see some of these cobblestones kind of all in a heap, as if something eroded it and it landslid or collapsed down below. So if you had to guess, that 30 feet spot up there on the ledge is probably the original height of where the road was. So yeah, probably 30 feet of erosion over 2,000 years is probably a reasonable amount, given the fact that the stream maybe isn't always running. There's clear indication, though, as you're looking through this, there's clear indication that at times this stream is more turbulent than it is right now. In fact, it's about 2 feet wide where it's at, and it's maybe about 6 to 8 inches deep. But you can see indications of like probably during the spring when the initial melt, this thing is probably fills up much more of this canyon with water. Probably gets a bit deeper and probably faster.
Yeah, I'll ask our guide. So, what season is this flood? Does this flood very often, or?
Oh, this is it's from the melts. So there's usually a big runoff at the very beginning of the year, of the season in the spring. I'm surprised to see it's actually still running at this point. We must have had either heavier snows last year, or, which actually come to think of it, I believe we did, or more rain during the summer.
I don't think I'd want to be here when it was raining heavy.
Well, the rain isn't usually the problem. It's the spring snow melt. That's usually the thing. It's pretty fast. Comes through here pretty fast, and that snow melt probably for, I don't know, the better part of a month. Usually at around springtide or something like that. The springtide is like an early spring month.
Gotcha. I'll make a note of that, so if we decide to come back, that we will be aware of that.
Yeah, springtide is the one. Good. Yeah, fair enough. Let's keep going. It's kind of like he's like, who needs a rest? Some of you guys seem to always have some issues, so who needs a rest? We'll take a short one. So for the next hour, you guys take a rest and break here. I
kind of want to walk around and act like I'm kind of walking it off, but I'm looking for any type of architecture, any type of signs or road signs or carvings.
Give me another investigation check as you look around for this sort of thing. You kind of look around, and then you kind of get near the edge, and you look back over the veil, and it captures your vision for a while, and you kind of forget what you're looking for. And then when you think about it back, you're like, oh crap, we gotta kind of get moving.
Yeah, gotta go.
The view back into the Vale is quite amazing from this height, because you're literally like 500 feet above the top of the floor, but the valley floor, but it also slopes down back towards the city and back towards the entrance to here, and the mountains on either side. It's wonderful looking.
I'll point that out to Cromdor. I can see why you like it here. I mean, this is beautiful.
Yeah, occasionally we get some of these kind of views. We'll get another one as we go through the pass up here over there, and he points kind of, well, you can't really see it. He's like, we're gonna head south a bit to come around the corner, and then I'll show you where the pass is.
Okay.
And you guys pick back up and start heading along this canyon floor. For the next, so you guys at this point are finding my mouse, are basically right in here. That's kind of where you're at this point. You're coming through a canyon that kind of leads along here into this sort of saddle right here, which you can barely see because the mountain name is in the way. But the saddle is sort of where he's taking you to as a pass that leads into this valley here. Based on what you know of. So yeah, go ahead.
So based on what we've gone so far, does this look like something that we could have done easily by ourselves, or just something that we would have had trouble finding?
Well, I mean, you're not 100% sure. Like, you knew about the claws. You knew that one of the frescoes showed sort of a water thing where they were coming down through water, and it's clear now that fresco was sort of the waterfall that you just went over. But but finding that particular waterfall without talking to somebody
would have been very hard.
Probably would have been more difficult. Like, you could have just talked to Cromdor and sort of mentioned sort of, hey, we're looking for something that sort of this sort of thing, and maybe he would have told you where it was. Maybe not.
Yeah.
It depends. Or maybe you could have talked to Jan about it, because Jan clearly has been in this Vale, so he might have been able to tell you about it if you again mentioned the fresco. But because remember, he wasn't there when you guys saw the fresco. He was still tending to Halton after the battle.
Yeah, or slaughtering people.
So you guys start meandering your way along the valley bottom, along the canyon here, and it's tough going. So it's actually slower going through here. So you basically went from here all the way to here in one day. It takes you pretty much the rest of the day to get to, a spot where you come around the corner at about midday. You come around the corner and he points out, right there, you see that sort of saddle looking thing? That is where we're going to be going up, or we're going to be going over to the next valley. If you notice, and he kind of points a little bit further ahead, notice where you see the sort of the track kind of heading up. That's where we start heading it up and towards the thing. And you can see up ahead, it almost looks like, again, sort of the whole road thing. You can almost see like a path that sort of does switchbacks kind of going up the side of the mountain. They're not perfect in the sense that, there's been a lot of erosion over the last many years, but there's still enough there that it, like, even to Morgoth or Silva or any of your eyes, clearly that was something that wasn't natural at one point. Like,
right.
It's pretty clear. Like, there's a lot of erosion that's pulled out parts of it, but it's still pretty clear that it was like probably about a 10 or 15 foot wide, like, leveling kind of road-like thing. But, with parts of it kind of eroded out and things like that. So it's not perfectly easily seen, but...
Are the only people who would have done something like that the dwarves? Can I tell if it's like stonework or dwarves, or the human settlements that could be, or?
Given the amount of erosion, it's clearly happened a long time ago. But it could be more. It doesn't have to be dwarves.
Okay.
I mean, there was, just some hits where you do know, hobgoblin. There was a hobgoblin set of hobgoblin nations here more than a couple thousand years ago. There was orcs at one point for about 1,000 years, kind of dominated this area. It could be
changed hands. It's not like dwarves have always been here, then nothing.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, who knows? The dwarves might have just found it and kept it up, and
Well, that's true.
and so it predates even them potentially. But you never know. So for the next better part of the day, you guys continue going along the floor of this canyon. About late afternoon.
Ooh.
No, I'm doing ones for things. Ones mean bad things. 20. So I actually have changed things up. Ones mean bad encounters. 20s mean you have an encounter. It's just not necessarily a bad
very bad.
So about late afternoon, maybe about 4 o'clock ish, is when Pramdar takes stopping to say, all right, we can start going up this. We can start moving up the valley to the top of the valley, or we can camp here and take it on the day. If we go up now, we'll probably make it to the top. Right around, well, given the fact that we'll be at the top of the thing, we'll be able to still have the sun. Maybe about right around dusk. What do you wish to do?
So how are we feeling? Do we have to roll exhaustion or anything? Or are we feeling?
Give me a Constitution check. Actually, do a Constitution saving throw. I mean, for some people it might be a bonus. Other people it's not going. So, and I'll give one for Andal. Silva's fine. Silva's feeling okay. Artemis, you're feeling okay. Andal is looking a little peaked. Morgoth's feeling okay. Sealgair. Saving throw.
Yeah, Constitution, right?
Yep. Yeah. I should have done that the first time, but it's all right. Sealgair's looking okay. Sealgair's looking like, let's do more. Let's do more.
Yeah. Hans and Franzi gonna pump you up.
I'm going without you.
Andal's looking a little peaked, so he didn't fail it by 5, so he's so at least he didn't get a point of exhaustion.
I'm okay going, but it's up to everyone else. My vote is to push on.
I'm good to keep moving.
Push on.
All right, so Andal's like, all right, let's just push on. And you guys start heading up the thing. So you can see the sort of the sort of like saddle kind of in the top. It's a good. This climb is going to be somewhat difficult. It's about a 3,000, 4,000 foot climb over the course of the course of the next probably 2 miles, because you're going up. I mean, with switchbacks, it's basically 2 miles of going up of walking. So it's not going to be easy, but you guys start going on. All right, so everybody give me another Constitution save as you're going up.
Wow.
Right. Everybody else is okay. But Andal at about the halfway point just kind of collapses. He looks super tired.
Is there a place to camp here, or are we on the side of the mountain?
No, you're kind of on the side. You either have to go back down or you have to continue to the top. Like there's no easy
Can we
way.
drag him?
Somebody can try to carry him.
Got it.
How much further up is there? I mean, how
You're
many
about halfway.
rolls?
You're about halfway.
Okay.
You'll need to do one more roll.
I got it.
Got it, big body.
All right.
All right. So give me a strength check first. Andal. Morgoth. You're fine. All right. So you guys continue up. Everybody give me one more Constitution save. Except for Andal, because he's being carried. Morgoth, this does mean you have disadvantage.
Oh.
Right, so Morgoth, you just make it to the top.
So I don't know. I got back-to-back crits on those. I think I should be exempt. Did it roll? Oh, hang on. There it goes.
You're still fine. All right. Artemis, by the time you make it to the top, you're feeling pretty tired as well, but not exhausted. Again, you got to miss the 10 by 5. So, all right. So all of you make it up to the top. As you make it to the top, Dust starts to fall. Karamdar kind of looks back at you guys and says, "Heh, well, other than that, poor lad, you guys are being pretty good troopers. That's much further than I was expecting we'd make today. Let's go a little bit here along the pass. I know that there is a ruined tower of some sort over there, or at least the base of it. We can camp in there for the night." And he starts heading along sort of a windy path through the top of the saddle. Like, I mean, it's like the top of the thing, so it's not too narrow of a pass, but you know, there's still mountain on either side. So he's kind of moving through this. As you guys, it takes you maybe about 30 more minutes. And then he kind of holds up his hand and closes his fist real quick. It's like, what, see a soldier at some point?
Yeah.
Everybody give me, well, he kind of then points in a direction, and you can see over on the side, you can see sort of in the semi-darkness, because the suns have just kind of gone down and things like that. You can see sort of a pile of rocks and things like that in sort of a square-like shape. But what's really makes you notice is that there's a flicker of firelight coming through it. And I will bring up this here in a second. All right, so fortunately, I'm going to bring up the map, but I'm going to hide some things first because you're still too far away to see it. All right, so I need to drop you guys in. I'm going to put you in, but slightly off the map. Silva and Karamdar. Where are you, Karamdar? Oh, I forgot to change this frickin'. That's fine. It'll be fine for now. All right, let me switch this to night. And activate. All right, so you can sort of see it if you bring up this map. You can see that there's sort of a flicker of firelight up in the one corner or up in the middle sort of thing. You can just see some of that firelight flickering through. Karamdar kind of motions you to go back a little bit, and you kind of move back a little bit around a curve. And then he says, "It's not normally fire in there. But the last time I was through here was maybe 6 months ago, maybe a little bit longer. Well, about 6 months ago. That would have been after the spring thaws."
Is it a campfire?
I don't know. Probably. It seems like it, unless you know of a torch that can throw off that much light.
It doesn't look like a lava flow. This isn't a volcano type area or anything type like that.
No.
Okay.
No. And it was very clear that it was very clear as you looked over there that there was sort of the ruins of a foundation and a bunch of stone blocks that had fallen off around it, like as if it was a really old ruin. So it's kind of bad in the sense that I'm showing it this way, but I mean you could see the firelight coming up because there's no top to this thing. So it's pretty clear it's a fire.
So is there a way to get...
What do you wish to do? This is where we were going to camp for the evening. What do you want to do?
Who is our scout?
Fortunately,
The fainted man.
The man who's currently exhausted. Because of double
scout?
ones, not because I was forcing him to be exhausted.
No, I know. But it worked out well for you.
Yeah, it did kind of work out well for me.
What are my stats? I think this is, I am not stealth guy. I mean, I'm +2, so I'm not awful, but someone else is better than that. That would be good.
Hey, Shelgar. I'm just kidding. It was totally the right thing, though. Hey, Dresda, can't you do that? Actually, Shelgar is at a +3, so she's not terrible.
Yeah. Not too bad.
Andal would definitely be the best with this +7, so it's not like he's... Silva is a +2. Morgoth is also a +2, so...
Silva, we got you covered.
Yeah, so Silva is kind of your sneakiest as right now. And she is not exhausted because of all of her lovely natural
Congrats.
20s on the way up.
So I will swing my crossbow and get ready in case. I will not fire it up yet, but I will ready my light. Well, actually, we probably won't need to because we can see.
Yeah,
I will
you can
stay back.
definitely see. Like, it's not easily seen here, but you can definitely see well enough anyway. Sealgair, are you going to try to stealth up there and take a look or anything? Or what's your guys' plan?
I would have her. We'll get ready, and then if she's willing.
I might do that because I don't like the idea of him going up alone.
Oh, I'm not going up at all.
Just like hang back a little bit. But
So go ahead and start moving yourself on the map here, on the battle map, as you kind of move up, and then give me a stealth roll. And
so Brian's over here.
You are this. Yeah, that's you. Yep. All right. Okay. So give me a stealth roll, and then start moving yourself towards the tower. All right, 15.
Can I still see him?
See who?
Brian?
Silva? Yeah, you haven't really went far away from them yet. Like,
okay.
You're going to lose sight of them, though, if you move up close enough to the tower to potentially see what's inside.
Yes, I'm moving up too.
Yeah. So, is Silva going with you?
Yes.
Do I do stealth roll?
No, you did a stealth
after
roll.
I move, or stealth roll?
No, you're fine. You have your stealth. The stealth that you're currently... No, you've already got a stealth.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, you already rolled one. Is Silva going with you is the question I was asking. I thought it was just Sealgair that was going.
I thought you said to move again and do another stealth roll.
No. You have your stealth roll. You have a 15. So you can move wherever you're going to want to move. You don't have to make another stealth roll until I ask for it.
Okay, I'm just trying to get to the bushes for cover.
Yeah, that's fine. So, and note, this is sort of a flattened area coming up to it. It's not as tiered like this as I show it in the map. So this kind of path kind of heads up into there. Reaching the bushes there, though, you can see sort of inside here through this, and there is a pretty large creature standing in there, kind of gesticulating at something you can't quite see. And you should be able to see. Where is he? You should be able to see.
I had to zoom out.
This guy right here.
Okay, right there.
Yeah. And it's gesticulating, and it's kind of covered in some furs, and it's like about 8 or 9 feet tall, maybe 8 feet tall. I have to check.
The gesticulation, can I interpret it as we've been made?
Give me an insight check.
Insight.
No, you think it's talking to something else.
Okay. I'll bring it to Silva's attention. I assume he must have seen it also, but I'll just point to it and finger on the lips kind of thing.
As far as I know,
I'm coming up.
You're the only person who is going to be going forward.
Okay, so I'm holding my finger over my lips and pointing to the dude.
All right, so Silva, you start moving up into there. You get close enough, and you can see that there's a creature, kind of a humanoid creature, but it's like 8.5 feet tall, rather muscular, rather large, wearing kind of furs and stuff like that. And it seems to, like, as you kind of get up there, it kind of walks like this way, and seems to gesture and like rah, rah, rah. You can't really hear. You're just sort of barely hearing some voices like Ashtar, Ashtar, and it kind of heads, and so you can't see it anymore as it heads over somewhere into the fire. But it hasn't come out. It's just you can't see it because of the rocks and stuff that are in the way. What are you guys doing?
I'm waiting.
You want to keep moving forward and see where it goes, or what?
I'm going to trust your stealth is a lot better than mine, and I think I've made it this far. So
Yeah, my stealth is not a lot better than yours.
I was going to say, I was going to let you proceed from here on in.
I think your stealth is better
The
than
point
mine.
was that you had the highest stealth. That's why you were going by yourself initially.
Yeah.
So we can either keep going together. You can go ahead,
All
and I
right.
stay back. And you can we can relay messages or something, so we don't have to be shouting.
Right. We'll do some sort of hand signaling thingy. So yeah, where is it again?
You don't know it. It walked into, and you lost sight of it. It was
Okay.
here. It walked all the way over, and you kind of lost it behind some of the rocks.
Okay, I'm gonna try to move towards the next bushes over here.
All right, go ahead. Getting there, you still don't see anything. Your stealth roll is still fine.
Okay.
There's no need for you to make another stealth roll for a bit until you get within 50 feet or 30 feet or something like that.
Let me see.
But you do notice that there's a few places you could look through, like here, possibly here, and maybe here if you wanted to kind of get around. These are all places you could potentially try to get and look around the side and see what's going on in there.
Okay, I would like to try to use my full movement.
All right.
It looks like this area right here is good cover still. Are those still bushes?
Yeah, those are bushes.
Okay.
In fact,
do that.
this was a tree right here that you could have used. There's a tree right here, in fact, as well, that you could potentially try to get.
I'd have to double move to get there.
Well, as stealth, you're already moving at half rate, so it's going to be a couple. I'm not worried about rounds here. You're just moving slowly and stealthily.
Right.
As you're kind of moving forward, you hear this thing. You see the thing come back into view over here and gesticulate again, and you hear it say, "Artemis, you don't understand the language, unfortunately.
Okay.
And neither do you. So
I'm gonna move up though to those bushes.
No, you can.
And you said the tree was.
There's a tree right here.
Here, okay. All right, so I'm probably.
And there was a tree back here that you could have hidden behind.
Let's see. So I'll zigzag to get to the tree.
Yeah. All right, so
it's creepy to here.
All right, and then give me another stealth roll as you move, because now
to
you're
get to
within.
here.
No, you go there. You can get to there.
Okay.
That's fine. After that, you need to give me another stealth roll.
Oh, sorry, wrong spot right there.
Yep.
All right, and stealth roll.
Yes, please.
Stealthy. Where's my mouse? Mousey.
Mouse made a good stealth roll. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So you don't think you've been heard. You still hear, at this point in time, you hear a second voice, one that's a little bit more. It's still just as gruff as the other one, and you hear it say, and it sounds like the two things are having an argument. Is what it sounds like. You know, Kat, like you and John arguing. You don't understand the language, but you understand the connotation between the two.
Oh, I know that expression. He just said, "Love you, F you, eat a rat." Oh, that's cool.
You don't understand the language, but you do get the gist of, hey, these two are arguing and they know each other. But
all right, so
you want to move if you want to move up to the tree here.
Yeah, and this is right here, right?
Okay,
That's what
so
you said? Okay.
You get to there, and now you can kind of see inside. You see this one has
my screen's black.
Shouldn't be. Oh wait, maybe.
Yeah.
No,
you're right back.
Your distance vision is not as far as it should be. Give me 1 second.
Right here is like the radius, the center of the circle.
I know. I'm just saying your distance vision is not where it's supposed to be. All right, so there you should be able to see more.
It's
some of it's going to be hidden because there's a rock in the way.
Yeah.
But you should be able to see here.
The center of that circle is the line, and the center of this circle is the other line.
Yeah,
I can see all this. Yeah,
you should be able to see this. Yep.
Yeah.
Because I literally have you selected so I can see what you can see. So.
Okay.
You can see two creatures in there. Give me a quick intelligence check.
Just straight up intelligence?
Yep, straight up intelligence.
Ability check. Bam.
But you're
nice.
not sure what they are. Like I said, they're about 8 feet tall, rather heavy set, muscular kind of creatures. One seems to be a little more feminine than the other one, so you think there's a male and a female version of this creature.
Oh, they must be married then if they're arguing.
And then you happen to also notice that there is a rather large skeleton right here, along with right next to it, and you can't exactly see it here on the map, but I'm going to give it to you anyway. I'm going to move you slightly. You're not actually this close, but I want you to see it. Because you should be able to. There's a creature lying. There's a humanoid body lying right here, and it's probably a creature like it looks like a human, but from what you can see, like from this distance, from what you can see, it looks like a human. And as you're watching, the one more female-ish or the one more male-ish looking one gestures in that direction and says, and he kind of motions towards his mouth a little bit. And the other one says, you can see it. You can see her shaking her head, going, and it points out the door. And the other one seems to, and then it turns and starts heading out. Are you guys doing anything?
Oh, they're getting ready for dinner.
Are you two doing anything? That's my question.
Yeah, I was gonna say we can't really.
I'm waiting on
we can't see anything.
I'm waiting on a signal from her.
Well, you see this creature coming out of the door.
Oh, that's not
Is that the rest of us, or is that
no,
just
those two? You guys are slightly around the corner. You don't necessarily see.
Yeah, just make
Silva, give me an intelligence check.
Sure.
I hold up 3 fingers for Silva.
Well, remember the other third person you saw was lying down and seems to be, and it was pretty clear they seem to be bound.
Oh,
you guys,
come on.
You've never encountered this kind of creature before. Again, it's like about 8 feet tall, pretty heavy, muscular. It's pretty big. It's a big creature.
Yeah. So I do 3, and then I do the number 2 and a really frowny, angry face.
This creature is continuing to walk out. Silver, do you want to do anything? Actually, give me a stealth roll.
Yeah. Stealth.
All right. You kind of move up and quickly and get behind this tree up here. Okay. And you watch as the creature just continues on by and starts heading down this direction, down the pass.
So it's not heading in the direction of the party?
Nope.
Okay.
And kind of heads off the map as you guys watch over the course of the next 5 minutes or so. Those of you down at the far side, you briefly see some kind of shadowy, hulking shape kind of move away down the pass. But it's hard to make out because it's dark.
Oh, that's the right way to go, though.
Inside of here, Sealgair, you see the creature come over here and kind of look in the direction that you see the thing that's lying down. And that person kind of sits back up, and you can see they're tied up. And then it starts speaking in the same language as the other thing. It basically is like, and then the other creature is like, trying to do anything? Do you want to do anything?
This is a toughy one. I'm debating. Is there any way to hide and try to unbind some of his bindings?
No, it looks like the two of them are having a conversation.
Okay, but he's tied up.
Yeah, he's tied up. The smaller creature, it's the human
creature
is
or
tied up.
Like.
Yeah.
Are they speaking loudly enough to cover my movement if I try to get to here? The bushes over here.
Well, the one creature is definitely speaking louder than the other. Maybe. I mean, they're having a conversation, so that might be a distraction, enough of a distraction if you want to try to get there. Okay, it's very clear from what you can see on the map that there is light spilling out here. You're not sure how much is spilling out the backside, though, if any.
Okay.
But given the state of this foundation of this whatever this tower was, it clearly is pretty ancient, pretty old, and there's probably other places you can try to get in.
Okay.
FYI.
All right, then I don't want to do that. Yeah, I definitely don't want to go walking into light areas.
Well, I'm just pointing out that maybe if you wanted to get around here, you could try to see in a different way. Oh, that's all I was trying to say. Around. But
Over here?
You feel you could get. They're having a conversation. They're
Right.
clearly distracted, so it's up to you if you want to try to get past. Like it's just a stealth roll, another stealth roll.
All right. Where did stealth go? Stealth.
All right,
Ooh.
so you get to about here as you're going across. Oh, hold on, you got that. I have to check.
Did I get advantage because they're
No,
arguing?
hold on. You get to there, and part of the rocks kind of skitter as you kind of slip on them, and you get to here, and you hear the creature kind of. You hear it go, and it comes over here, and it looks, and you can hear its breath as you're kind of flat up against the back of the rocks here, and it's like, and you hear it put its hand on the top of the rock of the wall next to you, right here, and kind of lean out a little bit, and you can hear its breath and smell its kind of fetid breath as it kind of looks around, and then you hear the smaller voice say, and it goes, and it moves back.
Oof.
What are you guys doing?
I'm gonna try to go back to my bush over here.
Okay, back to the tree.
Yeah.
Give me another stealth check. You're like, you were like, I didn't. That was a little too close. I'm going to try to go back. All right.
Oh damn!
So
no advantage. They're arguing.
No, you get to hear, and a very slight skittering of rock, and then you get to there. Nothing seems to change though. The creature seems to be continuing to have a conversation. In fact, as you went by, you can see that it actually was further close up to the fire.
Okay.
So you make it back to the tree.
I really want to go see what's up there, but I think it's time I headed back towards the party and describe to them what I saw.
Okay. So give me one more stealth check to get away out of range, so to speak.
Oh, dad nabbit.
That's all right. So you make it to where Silva is at. Silva, what are you doing? I should have done this because you have the same vision. So the two of you are kind of next to each other.
Oh, sorry, I didn't realize I was muted. If I see her leaving, I'm going to leave too.
All right, so you guys continue back towards the party. It takes you a few minutes to get back there. You get back there, what do you do?
I'm going to tell them everything I saw, and
so you describe the creature and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, and while the third guy
and,
seems bound up, he seems to be semi-friendly.
Morgoth and Artemis, give me an intelligence check.
With the other two.
He's bound up, so.
To the two of you, what she describes sounds like an ogre. And as you kind of think about that, Morgoth or Cromdar says, "Hey, that sounds like ogres. Wonder when they started living in this place." I don't know. We could try to sneak around them. What did you say the other one looked like?
Oh, I'll explain.
So you didn't get a really good look at him, but he seemed like a really large humanoid. But like,
why am I restrained? Did I click on something?
I don't think you're restrained. I just moved you.
Oh, okay. I must have clicked it. Sorry.
And I've been trying to figure out why something else is going on. I've got a weird thing going on my screen, but that's different. He's like, huh, maybe an orc or something? Maybe, you say they were speaking the same language, were they?
Yeah.
I don't know of too many orcs that can speak giant. No, it's too bad I didn't go up there. I can actually speak giant. I might have been able to hear what they're saying. But there's no way I'm going to get up there. I'm too clumsy. Actually, his stealth is as good as yours is. Damn.
Was he as at least I can put himself out like that?
No.
Was he as big? Was the other one as big as the second one? Like, were the two the same size? Like, they're both ogre size?
Yeah,
or?
they're both ogres. No, the third person is not. Third person is a humanoid who's about, based on how the size lying down, maybe about 6.5 feet tall. It's a guess.
And they're probably going to get eaten. Ogres eat. Do we know ogres eat people?
You kind of guess maybe that's the case.
Okay.
Cromdar's like, what do you guys want to do? We could try to kick him out.
I'd like to, I mean...
Otherwise, it's going to be a very cold camp tonight as we go try to find some other place. Although, if the other one is looking for food,
they might find us.
They might find us anyway.
Well, we could try to take him or find out what's going on while they're separated.
It's possible. And then Andal says, Leroy Jenkins!
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Andy, your character went nuts when you were gone.
Brian has to leave here shortly, so let us call it right there.
Okay.
You guys are trying to decide if you want to go take on the ogre plus whatever that third creature is, or wait for the other one to come back, or what. So we'll stop there for this session. We'll get a...
Was the second one struggling, or, I mean, was it heated debate? Was it? It was just kind of a...
like I said, it seemed like they were arguing with each other. And then one gestured at the male one gestured at the bound humanoid. And then the female one kind of argued, no. It's from the gist of it. And then the male one left after she told him to do something, clearly.
Did you describe something about the mouth? Didn't it try to put something in the mouth?
It tried to motion towards its mouth is all.
That was the male that did that?
Yes, the male did that.
I'll ask, is this normal ogre behavior? I mean, are they always... What does he know?
What is who?
As far as do they kill things? I mean, from Cromdar.
Oh.
Cromdar, yeah.
Like,
I mean,
they'll eat anything.
like...
They're omnivores. Well, they're meat eaters. They would eat us if they found us. They probably the guy that the one that she's talking about, probably an orc. They live over in the valley next door, in the valley on the other side. Probably they just captured him and we're going to eat him. And I don't know I don't know why they're not actually. That seems a little odd to me.
Maybe they decided to adopt the orc. Was it green? Was it our orc's green? Wouldn't you know an orc?
She couldn't get a perfect
she
view.
Couldn't see it. Okay.
Yeah, she could see that there was a body. There was a humanoid body lying down. And initially, probably thought it was a dead body, but then when it kind of sat up and started talking, clearly not a dead body. You could see sort of a dark, greasy hair on it, though, and that's about it. You couldn't really tell skin color and stuff like that. So, but the only other humanoids, like Cromdar said, that are around here are orcs. So probably
that would make sense. Domestic dispute. Let's get out.
All right. Well, we'll stop there for today, and in a couple of weeks we'll pick this back up. Thanks for playing.
Sounds good. I enjoyed it. Thank you.